finals are each 2-week games. Whatever. I pay attention. I set my roster, but I don't really pay attention. So I'm in that. He got me to do a bracket pool with him. I have no idea who I've got in his bracket pool because I think I was asleep when I filled it out. But I'm just going to say official bracket is the one I put on WRALSportsFan.com. And I commented yesterday that I was tied for first. And Victoria's like, "Oh my gosh, I think I don't know where I am." I said, "No, everybody's tied for first because the tournament hadn't started yet." And now that the tournament has played half of its opening round games, because I still don't understand why, but the first 4 games don't count. Like, I think you should have to pick them. But you don't. I went 8-8 yesterday. I figure I think that's bad. I went 8-8 yesterday.
Hey, that's 500.
Right.
So, it's okay.
That's better than what the ACC did yesterday.
It is better than that. Well, that.
All right, we are going to talk about that. Also, our friend Rod Baxley from the Fayetteville Observer, who covers Duke, State, Carolina, he's busy. He is at Lenovo Center, where Duke will play today, just before 3 o'clock. They will tip against Mount St. Mary's. And we will talk to him about everything we could possibly talk to him about, and that's coming up in about 5 minutes. So let's get through some of the other stuff. And it will not involve, yet, talking about the 8th straight win for the Carolina Hurricanes. I was up late.
Me too.
You watch that game?
Oh, yeah. I'm committed. Well, and plus I wasn't 100% sure. I mean, I had a feeling that they were going to win, but, the Sharks were sneaky last time we played them.
I thought San Jose played well.
Yes.
I thought they played very well. All right, let's get right to it. Wouldn't you know it, State is going to have to wait at least a few more days to officially hire Will Wade, because he is right now still coaching for another school.
Yep.
Because McNeese State stunned Clemson last night, 69-67. I'm in a text thread about Premier League soccer with a bunch of guys, many of whom are State fans, and at about, I don't know, it was 10-ish or so, whatever it was, whatever time of the day it was, after McNeese State. Maybe that game tipped at like 3:10. So it was mid-afternoon, late afternoon, and all of a sudden my phone blows up, and I'm like, oh, I'll bet McNeese State beat Clemson.
Yeah, know what that means.
I was busy. I didn't look at the score. Like, yep, that's exactly what happened. Look, I think it's fair to think that it's bad form that this got out before it should have. I don't think I'm being mean to State or to Will Wade or however this came out. I don't think I'm being unfair by saying, yeah, this is a bad look. I think we can all agree this wasn't the best way for this to go down. It's disrespectful to McNeese State. Flat out. Disrespectful to McNeese State. Even though last night, the clips we have here came from the Field of 68 video, Victoria, that I sent you. Right?
We've had these, so it probably did come from that.
This is the one I emailed you last night. Wade was on Field of 68 video, Jeff Goodman, Rob Doster, and a cast of thousands. And he basically said, hey, this is, everybody knew what was up. All right, so Will Wade talking about any distractions.
Our guys, listen, I love McNeese. Our guys love McNeese. There was no doubt how we were going to play. Everybody else who writes about us and talks about us, they don't know our program. They don't know who we are. They don't know what we're about. So all that stuff, all that fodder sounds great to people, but if you're not in with us every day, you don't know how we operate. We operate great like this. This is zero problems for us.
Yep. Okay. No, they were clearly not distracted. Maybe Clemson was. And he's still dialed in with the Cowboys.
I mean, I've been focused on the game. I mean, they'll tell you. I mean, I've been on one about the game. I mean, so whatever else is happening, that's of no distraction to us. I know everybody else, I mean, thinks that there's distractions and stuff. We operate the same way all the time. And so we hadn't operated any differently. The walkthrough hadn't been, I mean, nothing's been any different. There hadn't been a lot of motion. It's been narrow focus. The bigger the game, the narrower your focus. And it's been absolute narrow focus on winning our first NCAA tournament game at McNeese State and continuing to change. This is just huge for our school. Our enrollment's up 3%. Our applications are up 10%. And we've gotten freaking $25 million worth of free advertising the last couple weeks. I mean, our stuff's going to go through the roof. This is going to change our area. I mean, it changes our 5 parish areas, changes everything. So, that's what our focus has been. And we've broken every record in the book. This was the last one to get. We want to keep this going.
Well, and they could. I mean, they're obviously good. They were when you're a 12 seed, when you play, and I guess they're in the Southland Conference, and you get a 12 seed, you must be good at this. So I would not be surprised if McNeese State won again. Kadir Copeland, who plays for Wade at McNeese State, on all of the chatter regarding NC State.
He deserves it. All the work and the work he put in with us, the team he had last year. He deserves this opportunity. And I feel like, speaking not just for me, everybody on the team. We happy for him. Of course, we got a goal, and we're gonna finish our goal out together. And he know that. Our team knows that. We in this together. We not even worrying about what's going. We handle all that when our run's done. But like while we on this run, my man is a McNeese Cowboy, and he knows that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all, even though it's still bad form that it all happened the way it happened. All right, let me move on to Clemson. And I'm going to throw Louisville into this mix as well. Maybe they didn't belong in the field. Maybe Clemson shouldn't have been an NCAA tournament team. Maybe Louisville shouldn't have been an NCAA tournament team. That sounds silly, doesn't it? Okay. So as long as that sounds silly to you, we probably should stop using what happens during the tournament as proof that one thing or another, should have happened or shouldn't have happened. Because the only thing that matters is, can you win games? Clearly, North Carolina can win games. Doesn't mean they belonged in the field. Clearly, Clemson and Louisville couldn't win games. Doesn't mean that they didn't belong in the field. You understand what I'm saying? Is it possible? This is going to seem like I'm piling on. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring this up with Rod Baxley from the Fayetteville Observer, because we have a lot of basketball to talk about. And since Duke doesn't start till 2:50 today, I might talk to Rod about all of these things for the next 2 hours and 40 minutes. I kid, Rod. I kid, because I have commercials to take. But
gotta pay the bills.
Or whatever it is we do. But let me just should Clemson and Louisville should they have been in the field?
Yes, I think they deserve to be in the field, Adam.
Right. So
but as they said in The Wire, deserve got nothing to do with it.
Right. Exactly. All right. So wouldn't we agree that? And I don't actually. I'll get back to this little line I was going to go through at the end. Let's start with the news of the day. Cooper Flagg yesterday said he could have played at the ACC tournament. Really? I saw that ankle. Like, really? Yeah. He could have played? He practiced all week. Give me as much of an update as you can on Flagg and what he may have looked like during practice, the open practice yesterday and all that.
Yeah, he had both of his legs yesterday, Adam. He practiced for the full 40 minutes. We were out there for the open practice on Thursday. No noticeable limp, no ankle brace. Worked up a good sweat by the end of that thing and was working on his one-on-one moves with Chris Carrawell. So he looks like a full go for today. Like I said, he didn't show any signs of slowing down, and he went through the full session with them, shooting drills and stretching, so looks like he'll be good to go with no setbacks.
Maybe his ligaments and his tendons are bionic. I don't know.
Yeah.
That looked like a really, really bad sprain.
Agreed.
But, some people, when you are just 18, and it ain't that long ago he turned 18, maybe you just have super healing powers. Carrawell could defend, too. Back in the day, Chris Carrawell shut down Stevie Francis. But I'm not sure he's got quite the same defensive ability today than he had 20 some odd years ago. Do we have an update on Malik Brown at all?
Yeah, Shire, he did not go through their open practice yesterday. He was not wearing a sling, but he did not go through their open practice yesterday. Shire said they're doing everything they can to work with him, and obviously Malik wants to come back, but I don't foresee him playing this weekend. Honestly, to be frank, I'd be surprised if he plays anytime soon.
Yeah.
After dislocating that shoulder for a second time, it's just the mobility, the pain tolerance. It's not there. So I'd be surprised if we see him anytime soon. And that was kind of the direction Shire was going without actually saying that.
Yeah, I mean, and here's a guy that, if you watched Duke all year long, you realize that he's not just an elite-level defender, but he is a facilitator on the offensive end. They run a lot of their offense when they're not running it through Cooper Flagg, when they're both on the court. They run a lot of stuff through Malik Brown because he's such a good passer. And for, Duke fans or Carolina fans, they saw 2 threes in the regular season finale, and you went, "What? Really? We got to guard that too?" If I had to say, all right, after Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel, who was tremendous in the ACC tournament MOP, who has been Duke's next best, or if you want to fold it into most important player, who is it?
Tyrese Proctor, no question. He has been phenomenal this season. And I think it's because he doesn't have to be the guy. He just has to play his role. And he's played his role excellent throughout the year. He was sensational against Louisville. He loves playing the Cardinals. I think he had his season high against the Cardinals last year, if I'm not mistaken. So his three-point shooting is essential for them. And obviously, most of the time, he's the primary defender on the other team's best scorer. So after those two, Con and Cooper, I would say Tyrese is their most important piece.
He's been amazing. This is the year I thought he was going to have last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, he had some injury issues, I think, last year. But man, he has been dynamite, and he is, as important as anybody defensively for them. As good as he is guarding the ball, and he's got length, and he's he's just a dynamite player. I don't know what his plans are after this year. I don't know if he's going to turn pro. I don't know if he's going to come back. It's fine. If he can do anything he wants, and I'll support it, but he has been an absolute blast to watch. I think he's also got some big game ability in him. He likes the moment. I don't think the lights are too bright. Rod Baxley, Fayetteville Observer, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Nothing the Tar Heels did surprised you Tuesday night, right?
No, to be honest, Adam, let's go ahead and get it out of the way. That was a Q2 win for the Heels. San Diego State, and nothing against San Diego State, but I think they would have problems scoring against the team we put together as far as the Raleigh media goes. They're elite defensively, but they can't score. And Carolina did what I was kind of expecting them to do in that game. They looked great, and they have played a lot better of late. But I've got to see it against a top-tier team. I've got to see it against a quality opponent before I really buy in. All
right. Well, I've bought in, and I actually said, and you may have heard this. I may have said this with you on this program. I thought if they get in, and I'm on record, I don't believe they deserve to bid. But there's a lot of teams. I'm not sure San Diego State deserved a bid. Not based on what I saw, just based on what they did this year. And you could say the same about Xavier, and they beat Texas. So I thought if they could get in, I thought they would go to the Sweet 16. I like their draw. I like them against Ole Miss. Clearly, Vegas does. You made the last team in the field a favorite against the 6th seed. That was a little bit surprising, but maybe not because it is North Carolina, and emotions definitely trigger wagering. But Iowa State's physically compromised. They're missing one of their best players. There's a path for UNC to win 3 games and get to play Michigan State in the Sweet 16.
There absolutely is a path. You really couldn't ask for a better draw, Adam. I mean, like you said, Ole Miss, they're not overwhelming on either side of the ball, but a very good team that is proven from the SEC as far as racking up some big wins. But then you look at Iowa State, they're dealing with a lot of injuries, and that's always tough this time of year. I mean, they got to get past the Lipscomb team that a lot of people are on now because of the turmoil in Ames. But, yeah, it's a gettable pass for Carolina. But like I said, I got to see it. I got to see it. I believe they can do it. I mean, they're obviously playing great basketball on both sides of the ball. And like Roy Williams always said, everything looks better when the ball's going in the basket. So we'll see, man.
14 of 24.
Game.
14 of 24 from three-point range against San Diego State. Rod Baxley.
That'll win you a lot of games.
It's hard to lose when you shoot 60% from 3. Rod Baxley, Fayetteville Observer, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I don't know if you saw it. I played it because I thought it was hysterical. The Field of 68 video with Randolph Childress saying, look, they didn't belong in the field, but they're here, and they do what the ACC does. And he was talking about how great the ACC was when we get to this point in the season. Nobody told Clemson and Louisville that, who each lost yesterday. We all know that the ACC was not good, right? There's maybe
that's no secret.
Maybe Clemson and Louisville, maybe 18-2, isn't as good as it's made to seem because there was so much mediocrity at best from, let's say, 5. And I think Carolina was the 4th best team in the league, but from 5 through 12, 13, 14, and they're at best they were NIT teams.
Yeah, that's fair. You look at Clemson. I mean, Louisville's schedule was beneficial to them. Let's not make jokes about that. But I was expecting more from Clemson. I mean, a lot of people had them as a dark horse Final Four team.
Yeah.
So that was very disappointing to see. But per usual, man, all roads seem to come back to Tobacco Road when it comes to this time of year, no matter how the regular season goes. It always seems to come down to Duke, Carolina, or last year, NC State.
That's right. They had to get through Duke in the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four. Before I let Rod Baxley go, thoughts first on the, I'm going to say, probable hiring of Will Wade at NC State, and then I'll follow that up with another question. But your thoughts on Will Wade?
Yeah, I mean, Will Wade is a winner. So, I mean, obviously you have the baggage there from his time at LSU, but that's commonplace now in college sports.
Right.
So he was built for this time in college basketball. So I think if it ends up happening, it is a great hire for the Wolfpack. But as you know, NC State fans are always on edge, so I wouldn't be surprised to see McNeese State play into next week, given the stakes here.
I mean, they're already preparing the parade route for the press conference. They're going to have to put that on hold a little bit longer. Could this have been handled better by either State or Wade?
I think so, Adam. But, I mean, you know how it is nowadays. Yep. I mean, every little bit of information is so hard to keep quiet with social media, and everybody wants to get a scoop or be first to get news out. So it's not surprising, and it's just the landscape now. I mean, with the transfer portal opening, I think Monday, you got to get out ahead of this stuff and get your program ready for next season. Hey,
Jay Lucas left in the middle of not really the middle, toward the very end of the regular season. I think he was on the bench at the Smith Center for Duke's regular season finale, but then he left. He's not part of this. He won't get it. Will they bring him out of the stands if Duke wins the title? Will they bring him out of the stands to cut the nets down?
Yeah, he'll have the black sweater on like Roy Williams and have a Duke sticker on behind the bench.
Oh, man, I remember those times. Oh, I have a headache just thinking about it. Rod Baxley. All right, Baylor and Mississippi State are going on right now. I am rooting for Jeremy Roach and Baylor just so we get to see Roach play against Duke. Where along the road do you think it becomes hard for the Blue Devils?
I mean, I really love their path, Adam. I think they have the most gettable region of the number one seeds. Obviously, I think everyone around here would love to see them play Arizona because of the Caleb Love connection there. These guys can't stay away from each other. But I would probably say Alabama. I mean, they could score with the best of them. They can't stop anybody, but they can score. So if they can outscore everybody, you got to like their chances. So I think that would be the first resistance for Duke, so to speak, just because of their ability to knock down threes and get to the century mark as far as offense goes.
Yeah, especially since Cooper Flagg apparently is bionic. The indestructible Cooper Flagg. Rod Baxley from the Fayetteville Observer. I appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the ball today. And tell everybody out there we said hi. Not that they care about us. But thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
You got it, man. Anytime.
You
Have fun today.
I got basketball in front of me.
You get to watch all the games.
I'm barely paying attention right now. Thanks, man.
Yep, you got it.
Rod Baxley, Fayetteville Observer here on the Adam Gold Show. Let me just very quickly, we're going to talk about the Hurricanes in our next segment. Because I was getting to the fact that the league just wasn't good this year. Nobody's denying. Nobody's saying, oh, no, man, we were better than that. Last year, I said I thought we were. We meaning the ACC. I thought the ACC was better than it was being given credit for a year ago. I thought there was more value in ACC wins. We had Mike DeCourcy on yesterday. He's talking about in the non-conference. What you do is you set what the currency level for what a conference win is about, what that is worth. And I thought last year the ACC was better. I thought there was more value in conference wins. This year, if anything, I thought ACC wins were overvalued. It just wasn't good, which is part of the reason why I, along with hundreds of others, didn't think North Carolina deserved a spot in the field. Because I know they went 13-7 in the league, but of those 13 wins, most of them were worthless isn't the right way of saying it, but had low value because there weren't that many good teams anyway, and they didn't beat them. And even the teams that were kind of questionable, like Pitt, they split with Pitt. Like, my argument was, when people said, and I used this as well with North Carolina, they went 0-7 against essentially the top 7 teams in the country. 5 teams in the top 7, or maybe 8. They went 0-7 against those teams, 0-3 against Duke. Like, nobody else is even playing those games. And most of the other teams, if not every single one of those other teams, at the same level, would have also gone 0-7. Like, West Virginia probably goes 0-7 against Duke times 3, Alabama, Auburn, Michigan State, and Florida. So I thought that Carolina, their schedule turned out to be too hard. But in those other games against Quad Ones, they were still just 1-5. So it's not like they kicked their ass. They were unaccomplished. But what we watched, we thought, yeah, they're good. That's what I thought. Which is why I didn't think they'd get in. But I thought, man, if the sun shines on them, and they do, I'm picking them. I think they're good. And I think they will beat Ole Miss today. I think that game is at 4 o'clock. And then I do like them to advance past Iowa State, or maybe it's Lipscomb. Wouldn't that be a break? And then, I know Michigan State's really good. They could win a title. But Carolina versus Michigan State, I just have too much history with North Carolina cruising there. So, again, you got to win today before you can win 2 more. But if you told me that North Carolina was going to end this tournament in the Elite Eight, I'd go, yeah, I'd see it. I ain't surprised. So it's going to be fun to watch them today at 4 o'clock.
I know. How's your bracket?
Oh, it's terrible. I went 8-8 yesterday. I haven't lost a game yet today.
Yeah? Well, that's because...
Well, we're only 5 minutes into the first one today.
Yeah.
I do have Baylor beating Mississippi State.
You guess? You want to guess who's number one at the WRAL Sports Fan bracket?
You are.
I am. Me. Just found that out. Someone told me.
How many games did you win yesterday? Do you know?
I have no idea. I haven't even looked at my bracket.
That's exactly. See, and look, I do not feel this way. But there are people who invest too much of their own emotional energy in these. I no longer do.
Yeah.
Who would be mad. Wait, Victoria's first. She doesn't even know who she's got.
Yeah.
And typically, this is what happens. Because the tournament, you could literally do just as good a job throwing darts.
A coin toss. Literally, last year, I think I had 2 brackets, and one was all coin tosses. Like, I picked teams by flipping a coin.
Awesome. Awesome. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I have done brackets where you just go dominant mascot. Which mascot would kick the rear end of the other mascot?
Yep.
And I have a hierarchy.
Right.
I have a system.
Oh, yes. You have a go-to. What's your go-to mascot?
Well, natural disasters trump everything.
Oh, yes. Well,
right.
Makes sense.
Iowa State wins the national title. Cyclones.
Right. Yeah.
We're done.
Yep.
We're done. And Miami didn't make the field, so, the Hurricanes aren't in. Big Cats beat everything. Then you have to worry there's a lot of different cats out there.
There are.
You got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
And, we go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes sense.
Yeah, well, none of it does, but that's the tournament. The tournament doesn't make sense either. All right, when we come back, something that does make sense of late. 8 in a row. You might have missed it because it just ended like a couple of hours ago.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Canes win. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Adam Gold Show.
Hey, I know Cooper Flagg didn't win all of the awards. He won the 2 major ones. He got Player of the Year. He got Rookie of the Year. Neither were unanimous, which blows my mind. But he should have won Defensive Player of the Year as well. And John Shire was the Coach of the Year. Yes, I know Duke has all these great players. They were 19-1. They were 28-3. Historical point differential. Come on.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's hockey season, baby. I live and work on both coasts, and here's the deal. There's nothing like Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, including half-price pizzas Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and $6 Jamesons on Sunday. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Let's put out this campfire.
Dad, Smokey Bear said to.
Drown it with water, then stir it with a shovel and repeat until cool.
Wow, where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
I'm Tiffany. I have some tips for you on how to quit smoking like I did. First, I did some reading about it. I found a lot of great advice on how to quit smoking and picked out the ways I thought would work best for me. I started by setting a quit date. Then I threw out my ashtrays, lighters, and matches. I did other things too, like exercising more, and it worked. But I'd still get cravings, especially on long car rides. To help me with that, I put a picture of my mother in my car. She died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes when I was only 16. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. That picture of my mother reminds me that I don't want to miss all the things my daughter is going to do in her life, including turning 17.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
We are the nation's largest integrated healthcare system, providing life-changing care to over 9 million veterans.
Our hands are busy, competent, skilled, healing, helping, and friendly. A place where diverse teams come together hand in hand to provide full patient-centered care. Working in state-of-the-art facilities with influential leaders in healthcare, all with a single goal in mind: to help veterans heal, recover, and get their lives back. In a place where everyone plays a part and where your efforts are truly appreciated. A place so innovative and forward-thinking that we're rebuilding hands, and where even robots lend a hand.
Join hands with us. Learn more at vacareers.va.gov.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's.
The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed. It affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's here. We're live on YouTube. We're not in our normal location. If you're listening in Raleigh, normally we're on 99.9 The Fan. Today, because the NCAA tournament is all-consuming, and yesterday, which is why we were in a different studio yesterday, you can listen to basketball on 99.9 The Fan, or you could flip over to Buzz Sports Radio, which if you have an HD radio, I have an HD radio in my car. I didn't even realize that till like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
And you've had your car for longer than 2 weeks?
2 years.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh, look at that. I have HD radio.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have, and in fact, yesterday, flipped it over. I mean, I was already off the air, so it didn't really matter. But you can listen 99.2 or whatever it is. It's HD2. I don't know how to get there. But you can listen to us on that or Buzz Sports Radio, wherever that is. I'm not sure. But you can also stream it on YouTube. And because we all have the ability to attach our phones to our cars, shouldn't say all, not everybody. My wife couldn't.
Oh, really?
Right. She couldn't. She has what is her car? It's a 2009 model. I mean, she loves it. She loves her car.
Mine's a 13 and still has a CD player, so.
Well, she has a CD player. Yeah, she doesn't use it.
Apparently they're taking those out, but I still have CDs. So, yeah.
Do you listen to CDs at home?
Yeah, I have vinyls and CDs. Yeah.
Well, okay. That vinyl's
deep.
different.
Yeah.
Vinyl's different.
Yeah.
CDs maybe not, but so we actually got I think a 21 Jeep Grand Cherokee the other day. And she's like, "Wow, CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is awesome.
This is nice."
Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, regardless, we can all plug our phones in now. So if you have YouTube, you can watch this show on YouTube or listen to this show on YouTube while you're driving. Don't watch it while you're driving.
Yeah, that might be dangerous.
That would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
That would be bad. My son just got his permit the other day.
Uh-oh.
He's hit 4 fairways. Let's just say, we'll talk about it that way. He's 4 for 4 in fairways hit.
Okay.
We've kept it on the road.
Okay.
4 straight days.
Good.
Aces.
Good.
Aces. He's pretty good at it. Anyway, last night I was up late, as you could tell. I am all over the place. I apologize. Hurricanes and the San Jose Sharks. It wasn't necessarily a long game. It started at 10:38.
Yeah.
So it was going to end a little after 1, and it did. And by the time I was done doing the Canes Corner podcast, available wherever you get your podcast, you can rate, review, subscribe, like, do all of that, wherever you get your podcast. I think I got to bed at 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up at 5:30 like normal.
Had a nap. Yeah.
I went back to sleep after, but I still only got about another hour.
Yeah.
So I'm punchy.
Okay. Sometimes.
We should do a mailbag segment and people can ask me stupid questions.
Oh, yeah. Well, I may have something that qualifies for one-timers.
In one-timers. All right. So we came back. I said I was going to talk about the Canes. We haven't done that yet. So let me get into it very quickly here because this is what I talked about on the podcast last night. It starts with goaltending. Now, I didn't necessarily love the first goal that Freddie Anderson allowed. It certainly wasn't his fault. Shorthanded goal, 2-on-1, blah, blah, blah. So there were a lot of things that happened before Freddie, but I also thought that the way that puck went in, yes, he was crashed into, but being crashed into didn't cause the goal.
Right.
That goal was going in before he was crashed into, and that's the part I didn't love about it. But with all of that said, Anderson was really good last night.
Oh, my gosh. During that power play at the end?
Oh, my God. 25 saves. And if you look at Carolina's last 10 games, obviously not all of these are wins. It's an 8-game winning streak. But if you look at their last 10 games, their goaltending off the charts. Kochetkov has a .948 save percentage in his last 5. He's 5-0-0. Anderson's save percentage in his last 5, in which he is 4-1-0, is .938. I think that's good. Combined, it's about .943 over their last 10 games. In this 8-game winning streak, they have allowed 10 goals.
Wow.
Just 10. I could be wrong here. 1.25 goals allowed per game probably wins a lot.
I would say so.
So, again, that ain't going to it's not going to keep up at that pace, obviously. But when we went back, let's say 3 weeks before the trade deadline, and I mean, we talked about it on this show. I talked about it on the podcast. I thought Carolina had 2 fatal flaws. 2 flaws that they would not be able to overcome when they got to the playoffs. And the first one was, I just don't think their goaltending is good enough. And while it's just 10 games, it's a small sample size with both goaltenders. It's also possible that while they won't be this, that they'll be easily good enough if their offense comes back a little bit more. And I think the offense, is coming back. But will it doesn't have to come back to scoring 4 goals a game. What you want to be in the playoffs is the ability to go, I know we're scoring 3 times. And if you score 3 times every game in the playoffs, I think you're going to the finals.
Good odds.
If you score 3 goals a game in the playoffs, I think you're going to end up in the Stanley Cup Finals. But the goaltending looks to have self-corrected right now. The blue line, Dmitry Orlov missed a few games. Scott Morrow stepped in. Morrow got better. Orlov came back last night. And he played the fewest minutes on the blue line of anybody. He was 6th in ice time. But the emergence of Sean Walker during Orlov's absence was noticeable. And Rod Brindamore talked about it before the game last night, that he played really well when Dmitry Orlov was out. So they started the game with Walker playing with Jalen Chatfield on the second pair. Now, Rod flipped back to the normal pairings in the second period, but Walker still ended up with the 3rd most time on ice. So to me, that is a significant thing. And actually, in my, whatever my opinion is worth, I think Walker has been excellent really for about 3 months. Everybody makes some mistakes except for Jacob Slavin. Let's all get that out there.
So good.
He's ridiculous.
And was on the line that was out there for like 85 minutes.
Oh, on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
Penalty kill in the third period with like 3 minutes to go. It's like 3:20 when the penalty was called.
Him, Martinook, Hall.
They're all stuck out
all
there.
Of them.
Well, Hall was in the penalty box. But right, I think Hall was in the penalty box. Martinook and Stahl were out there.
Yeah, he eventually came out.
Yeah, Hall. Yeah, because
And
you
then they
can't
kept
stay in
going.
there forever.
And they kept going.
Right. But Slavin, and you could tell those guys were gassed.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
Slavin kept getting his stick in the way all the time. It would piss me off if I was playing against him.
Right?
I mean, I would be so mad.
Like the gnat.
I would punch him. I'm not even kidding.
Right.
If I was playing against Jacob Slavin, I would hit him.
Yeah, and then he would be like, sorry, buddy, I didn't mean to make you
Right,
feel that way, because that's what kind of
exactly.
person he is.
Exactly. Like, that's what Jarvis said. I don't want to play against him because he beat me, and then he wouldn't even talk trash about it.
Exactly.
He would just go, how you doing?
Yeah. Bring you a muffin or something.
Amazing. But he was awesome last night. But I also thought that, the other guys around, I mean, Burns played a really good game again.
Yeah.
Chatfield, I think he had a little bit of a dip a few weeks ago. I think Chatfield's playing really well. Goss is, they're all playing well right now. It's hard to judge a team when everybody is playing well. But I think that maybe the defense isn't as bad as it looked. Really, it looked bad because Burns was giving the puck away and Orlov was having a rough go. Remains to be seen whether Orlov can come back and be effective, really effective. But that's really what Scott Morrow gives you. He gives you some cushion because I think Morrow proved at the end that, okay, he could play. We're not going to expose him to a lot of minutes in a playoff series if we can avoid it. But I think he is an option.
Yeah.
And Alexander Nikishin, the top prospect in the league from the KHL, will come here when their season ends, whenever that is, probably early to mid-April. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't, but he's also an option.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to need options. It's going to be hard to go through a playoff run without taking on injuries, even for a game here and there.
And Jackson Blake had a great night last night. Almost a goal. I even thought about
Well,
you
he scored
too.
a goal. Scored a goal. They took it away.
And they took it because of offsides. And I was like, no.
Look, I get it. Jack Drury has a legacy.
Yeah.
And we are trying to live up to that legacy.
We are.
By having goals erased that were scored. Because nobody did that better than Jack Drury.
Right. One game at a time. He's still living with us.
I'm very certain of this. He's the NHL's all-time leader in goals taken off the board.
Poor buddy.
Alexander Ovechkin scored last night. He's 7 away from the all-time goal-scoring mark by himself. 7. He's going to get it.
Yeah.
He's going to get it this year. Hopefully it doesn't come against Carolina. Canes have 2 games left with
That's
Washington.
right. That was one of my bets yesterday. It was only plus 100, but the fact he's still plus money is kind of stupid to me.
That is crazy. So, but yeah, Jack Drury left a legacy. Logan Stankoven, new guy, fitting right in,
Mm-hmm.
and Jackson Blake. And last thing about this, because the top line was awesome last night. Aho, Jarvis, and Blake were tremendous.
Yes.
Last night. When Mikko Rantanen got here, and I don't even remember these people's names, so it doesn't matter. I understand why people felt this way. When Rantanen got here, and initially there wasn't any scoring, there were plenty of chances, and Blake and Rantanen were the ones creating them.
Mm-hmm.
Those two guys. And because there weren't goals to go along with it, the immediate knee-jerk reaction was, get Jackson Blake off the line. I'm like, are you watching the same thing I'm watching? Because he's the guy creating these opportunities.
Yeah.
So I would want that guy to play.
Yes.
Right, but
don't act like it didn't happen. The potential wasn't there. You won't make any shots if you don't try, at least.
He has been amazing. I think it's 19 games in a row without a goal.
Yeah, I know. That was what
I
I was
don't even
thinking
care.
Yesterday when he got it and then it was reversed. I thought we were going to end the streak.
He had 2 other really good chances in the first period that didn't go. I just don't care. Let him keep playing like that, and let him keep playing like that without scoring. The goals will come.
Mm-hmm.
If we save all the goals for mid-April and later,
I'm down.
I'm here for that.
Yes.
But that guy, when you when he's not a fly, right? When he gets 20 pounds of lower body strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat some biscuits.
He is going to be something
I'm
else.
so excited for that line.
Yep. Tremendous. All right, we got a break. We come back. We got one-timers if we have any time left. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We are knee-deep in March. The month is crazy. Some even call it mad. Time for your college basketball promo of the week. You can get a share of $1 million in bonus bets if you bet on the lowest winning seed of the day. That's an upset you will not be upset about. See what I did there? FanDuel. Best place to bet on the tournament, FanDuel.com/AGS. Download America's #1 sports book today. FanDuel.com/AGS. It's a dog of the day. You will be happy you did it. In March, anything can happen. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live moneyline wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split equally among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Baylor 27, Mississippi State 23. 6 minutes left, first half. Winner gets, I'm assuming, Duke, who FanDuel Sportsbook yesterday had minus 100,000. Who's betting that?
Yeah, you can't even put that in a parlay.
Who's betting that?
You would have to have, like, all the underdogs plus that.
Why even? Yeah. Why even put it? Why even put it out there?
Yeah, it's comical.
So some of the others I looked at had Duke minus 20,000.
You have to pay them to bet on Duke.
Yeah, exactly. Just the dumbest thing ever. All right, one-timers.
Okay, so starting off, we did have a couple from our YouTube stream.
Hi, YouTube stream.
Right?
I don't even know what camera to look at.
Thanks
Did this
for
one?
Hanging out with us.
This camera now?
Let me check.
Right now, it's this one.
Nope. I think it's that one. That far
No,
one.
it's this one. I'm looking.
Oh.
That one right there.
Okay. Well, so from Jerry, he wants to know if you are the new Hurricanes GM and your first task is to make a decision on Taylor Hall, would you extend him, and for how much per season, if so?
I think Taylor Hall's contract will come in between 3.5 and 4.5. I think he'd want a 2-year deal, at least. He's in his mid-30s. He's not going to command more than that. So, but I think he's a very useful player. I thought he played an excellent game last night. So, he's big, he's fast, can still skate, and he's not a great goal scorer anymore. Not that he ever was a great goal scorer, but I think he is a great offensive piece and can really help. He doesn't have to play on your top line. He can play in your middle six. I like him.
Yeah, he's a good impact on the ice. I do too. Yep. So, next up, this is the one that I told you might be the, here it is.
Doesn't matter.
You're plucky. This one's from Conrad. When is Jackson Blake going to break out? It feels like he has been on the cusp since the trade deadline.
I hope it's April 20th.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a playoff game. That's what I'm hoping for. If Jackson Blake doesn't score another goal the rest of the regular season, I'm good with it because I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get energy. I'm going to get puck retrieval. I'm going to get pest. I love everything about that kid. I wish he was bigger, but I don't care. He's great. Is that it?
All we have time for.
2-timers. All right. When we come back, why Raleigh is the center of the sports universe. That's right. The center. Next.
From the heels,
touchdown, Carolina,
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but that doesn't mean me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as the NFL draft approaches, insight on free agents and prospects, plus all the insider info on who the Panthers want to pick at number 8. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
This ain't your grandpa's golf game. It's League Mini Golf. Join the Hop Shots Golf League at Raleigh Beer Garden on Glenwood South. Registration is now open, so grab your teammate and get signed up at theRaleighBeerGarden.com. Each 2-player team will play a round each week. There's a weekly winner and a big tournament grand prize, plus an end-of-season tournament party with free food and bevs. Hop Shots League Night starts March 24th, so get your sign-up in today at theRaleighBeerGarden.com. Then get ready to have a ball.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
I am blessed. After I lost my mom, I was depressed and resentful. I couldn't find my way, but I am not lost.
That's right. I'm Tiffany. I work in behavioral health for youth advocate programs. Yeah,
I empower Blessing with tools so she can see her strengths and set positive goals.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
No, she's a good student and a great kid. As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her.
We need YAP. The youth, they need strong support systems. I try to help the youth understand if you have a change of mindset, you can have a change of action.
YAP gives communities alternatives to residential care, youth incarceration, and neighborhood violence. After completing our program, nearly 90% of participants remain in their community. YAP works.
And now I'm finding my way and excited about my future.
Youth Advocate Programs. Others talk social change. We make it happen. Learn more at yapinc.org.
Hi, I'm news correspondent Bob Woodruff. In 2006, a roadside bomb struck the armored vehicle I was riding in while reporting from Iraq. I sustained a life-threatening traumatic brain injury. The military term "got your six" means I have your back. And that day, our service members had mine. During my recovery, I learned firsthand the challenges facing our service members who return home with injuries. While serving, their fellow service members always had their six. Now that they're home, it is our turn. We started the Bob Woodruff Foundation to make sure that the camaraderie and support they relied on in the military carries on, and we need you. Please join us as part of the Got Your Six initiative and help us be there for impacted veteran service members and their families. They've had our backs. It's time we have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org. That's gotyoursix.org. Using the number 6.
Operation Homefront, it opened up so many possibilities. It took us from a hopeless situation. Now we're homeowners. We have a savings account. It's completely changed the way our life is. Our household is so much happier.
Visit OperationHomefront.org to learn more.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Your home for Duke basketball. WCMC HD2 HD3 Holly Springs, WDNC AM Durham, and WCLY AM Raleigh. The Buzz.
I'm fine with the upsets today and tomorrow.
Early rounds?
Starting Saturday and Sunday, I want no upsets. I want the best teams playing in the biggest of moments.
So why even have the tournament?
I mean,
you're okay with what? Not having a tournament?
I'm okay with having less teams, in theory, in the tournament.
When you think about the tournament, what's the first word you think of? Cinderella.
Yes.
This is what makes the tournament great, is the
for the next 2 days.
The unpredictability of it.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria, she is on the ones and twos. That was, of course, dear friend of the program, Evan Cohen.
He's great.
I love Evan. I don't always agree with Evan.
Right.
Right?
It's okay.
But in this case, he is 100% correct.
Mm-hmm.
The first weekend is for Cinderella.
Yes.
I don't need Cinderella to win that second game. I don't.
No.
I'm not saying it's not fun. I think it is fun. But when we get to the second week of the tournament, for me, I've always said this about the NCAA tournament. The first week is the wildness. The first weekend is, oh my gosh, this is tremendous. A coach you've never seen, you've never heard from, 2 players with ponytails.
Yeah.
Right? Or did you see the guy shooting for, was it High Point yesterday?
Oh.
Where, like, they did a jump shot. He is leaping at the basket and pushing it, but he's amazing.
Wow.
I don't remember his name.
Like a globetrotter.
He made tons of shots yesterday. I'm like, you'd make fun of that at the Y.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
But that's what the first weekend is for. Those teams. And then we get down to the business of figuring out who's going to win the national championship. Right. And I would prefer it if those were the best teams.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to have 16 of them, but it's good if we have like 14 of them.
Yeah.
So I don't need Cinderella to win the second game.
Loses its appeal.
First game I do dig. Scott Dupree, who is maybe the best in the country, if not the world, at his job, is the executive director. Why? Don't laugh yet. I'm not even done with the intro. Executive director, Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance. It used to be the Visitors Bureau. Now it sounds like it's like you're at like one of the meetings in Star Wars. So Scott joins us. Nothing going on in town. You've just got the NCAA first and second round at Lenovo Center. All three not state schools because Duke's not a state school. State Carolina and Duke are all hosting first and second rounds on campus. You have College Cup here every year. What is going on? You guys are amazing at your jobs.
Well, I'm down at the Outer Banks this weekend, Adam. So what is there something going on?
Wait a second. You got out of town for this?
No. I'm
okay.
right here.
Wow, that was very believable. I heard wind behind you. I figured, my gosh, Scott's calling us from the beach.
No, when I was talking to Victoria, I just stepped outside of the Lenovo Center, but I have one so I could hear. But I have one quick question for you.
Sure.
So, taking it based on your speech there to open the segment, you weren't a big fan of the San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, Miami Final Four.
It wasn't that I wasn't a big fan. That Final Four, not really. But it's like San Diego State was a better team that year, right?
That's correct, but still an odd team for the Final Four, but a better team.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with, like, one of those teams in the Final Four, but I don't need three of them in the Final Four. And again, I think San Diego State was a good team that year.
Yeah. Anyway, so what was your question?
I don't remember. Why are you? What is it about here? And it's not just because it's not just basketball. Right now it's basketball because we have 4 venues hosting NCAA tournament first and second rounds. What is it about here that draws all of these events to us?
Sure. I think there's a good question. I think there's a lot of factors. And a couple of those factors are, one, I always tell people, we are the people like me who work in the sports market in this region. We are very blessed to be in what I think is maybe the most enjoyable, fun, exciting sports market in the country with, you start at the top with the Hurricanes and then you go NC State, Duke, and Carolina, which are essentially major league, treated like major league franchises in terms of attention and media and tickets and sponsorships. So you've got all of that. And then you've got incredible venues. Venues is really a foundational aspect of having a great sports market. And we have world-class venues, as you know. But I think the biggest part, Adam, is we have a lot of people here who love sports, good at their jobs, love bringing events here, love hosting events. And I'm talking about the Hurricanes. I'm talking about NC State, USA Baseball, NCFC Youth, the town of Cary, the city of Raleigh. There's all of these components that it's just an unbelievable dynamic of a sports market, and the people and the organizations who have sort of all landed here at the same time, who are really good at hosting, and they're really good people, and they work really hard to make it happen. And that's a big part of it. And then over time, another really important component is your track record or your resume.
Mm-hmm.
And we host an event, whether it's Stadium Series or NCAA basketball or College Cup or who knows what, another sort of bullet point gets added to the resume of major events that were hosted here successfully. And when that happens, every time it happens, someone out there who owns events or plans events notices, that went really well in Raleigh.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pick up the phone and try to bring my event to Raleigh. And I've always said that your track record and your resume is critical to future business. When you host one event successfully, it opens the door for more.
Do you think Scott Dupree from the Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance is joining us here? He is the executive director. Do you think that is in large part why the soccer tournament has found success here 2 years in a row and keeps getting bigger?
I do. I think two things. One, I think this is just my opinion here. I think it initially picked up the phone, the TST, and called the town of Cary because all the College Cups and Cary's reputation is without question the premier place in America for collegiate soccer, the premier town for collegiate soccer. And I think that's what led them to pick up the phone and when they were doing their initial research. And then the second part of it is when they got here, when they looked at it, when they played the first year, as you know, Adam, The fields and the grounds at Wake Med Soccer Park are impeccable. They're like greens at Pinehurst. I mean,
yeah.
And for soccer players and coaches, in my experience, nothing is more important than the turf. They want to play on absolutely perfect playing surfaces, and they get that at Wake Med Soccer Park. And then, of course, as you know, you also have an enormous soccer community in the Triangle that, with a billion, thousands of players, young and adult, who play soccer, who support that kind of event. And TST fell in love with the area. They fell in love with the weather in early June, with the fields, with the fans, with the ticket sales. And but I do think Cary's reputation as nationally as a soccer hotbed is what led to the initial phone call.
Scott Dupree, Executive Director, Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Just a couple of more minutes. Tell me what else what else is coming? What else can we be excited about? How long until you bring Major League Baseball to the Triangle, Scott?
I should have that wrapped up by probably Monday morning.
That's great.
So I'll call you when I get that wrapped up. I'll give you a phone call. So
Thank you very much.
I'm on the periphery of that. I'm supportive of that. And as you know, Adam, no one other than maybe you wants Major League Baseball here more than me.
My gosh, it would be great.
What I love about it right now is, since I've been in this job for the last 20, 25 years, people are constantly talking about Major League Baseball to Raleigh. When's it going to happen? I mean, it's always been out there. But this is the first time, and again, I'm not speaking for the group here because I am not part of the group trying to bring it here. But this is the first time we've had, in my opinion, real people, real owners, real money, a real legitimate concerted effort that I think has a legitimate chance to do this. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying they're in the mix and they have a legitimate chance. And I would love it more than anything to see a Major League Baseball stadium in Raleigh in 3 to 5 years and have the Pirates coming in, 6.
Look, I like the Pirates. I love the history of the Pirates. I love even those silly 1970s uniforms. I love the Pirates' history, going back to Clemente and before that all the way to Duke legend Dick Groat. I love all of that. I wish the owner of your team tried to win.
That you summed it up. That's all that needs to be said. As I was complaining about last night, I was at the NCAA, our media party that we hosted last night, and I was boring people with talk about the Pirates. And all I would say, the bottom line is, all I want is them to try to win. Even if they don't win, just try to win.
Yeah,
that's all.
They're not trying.
They're not trying. I know.
So
let's change the subject.
All right, we have to go. But who will Paul Skeen's next team be? I don't know. Don't answer it. Don't answer it.
I'm not going to answer that.
Don't answer that. That is Scott Dupree, the Executive Director, Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance. I'll see you very soon, my friend. I thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Adam and Victoria. Have a great day.
You too. All right, when we come back, Pete Blackburn. If you are a hockey fan, you know who Pete is. He has covered the NHL for many a major media outlet, but he does his own hockey show on YouTube called What Chaos, because that's in large part a great way to describe the National Hockey League. We'll talk Eastern Conference and some Hurricanes with Pete Blackburn next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
We're in the middle of the madness.
Tar Heels on the run. Trimble to the cup layup. Cannon in the foul. Carolina can get within 6.
From the first 4 to the national championship.
R.J. Davis swishes it home. That one rainbowed up and through.
All the hoops action will be heard here.
Lubin gets the rebound and hammers it home.
The road to San Antonio is driven by Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Fairway Green, and First Horizon Bank. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Dear hero, whoever you are, thank you for donating plasma. My body literally gave up on me. Receiving plasma treatments was, to me, hope. Now that I'm out of the wheelchair, I love going on walks, swimming. Those were some of the things I was told that I would never be able to do.
I have swells all up and down my arms or my legs, my hands. I could have an airway swell, and that's life-threatening. I haven't had any attacks in about 3 months since trying it. It's crazy because it was daily that I'd have these, and it's just gone.
Because of you, I can walk again.
Because of you, I feel amazing.
Giving equals living. Give plasma. Replenish the supply. Make an appointment to give today by visiting hhs.gov/giveplasma. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
What is lost when a home is denied? When equality is cast aside just because the family doesn't look like you or cook like you? Or because they identify as LGBTQ? Maybe it's because of how they talk or how they walk? Make you struggle to find a lender because of your gender? It's not fair. It's not their place to reject you because of your race or the obstacles you face. Housing discrimination has no place in our nation.
Equal access and equal opportunity are core American values. Where you live can change your life. Don't let housing discrimination stop you. If you believe you've been denied a home because of your race, color, religion, national origin, familial status, disability, or sex, including gender identity and sexual orientation, go to HUD.gov/fair housing. That's HUD.gov/fair housing. Everyone has a right to fair housing.
Wildlife around the globe needs help. And when you help protect them, you become a friend of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. A real friend. The kind of friend you want to thank. And not just with a card or a text, but with a song.
Thank you for being a friend.
Travel down the road and back again.
Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
From your friends at the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, thank you for helping protect wildlife around the globe. Without you, there's no them. Learn more at sdzwa.org/friend.
Thank you for being a friend.
This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse. No, you are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion. But you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
The Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. 8 in a row now for the Carolina Hurricanes after last night's 3-1 win over the San Jose Sharks. Very similar in a lot of ways to the first game these two teams played. I think it was back in December, where San Jose took a 2-1 lead into the third period. Carolina got goals from Brent Burns and I think it was Jalen Chatfield in the third period. All 3 goals in that game came from the blue line and won a tight game 3-2. For, period and a half, 2 periods, same deal. It was 1-1 after 2. Carolina I thought was significantly the better team. Then they score with Aho about 5 minutes in, and then Sean Walker closes out the scoring, and Carolina wins it 3-1. They have won 8 straight. They are separating themselves from the New Jersey Devils for home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. And to talk about a little bit of the Canes, but a lot of the East, Pete Blackburn from What Chaos Show, or What Chaos on YouTube, all about the NHL. He joins us. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll start with the Canes, and then we can move on from this. We're obviously, we know what we think we have down here, and that is I've said this before, I put them in the secondary contender category because I still think that there are questions that need to be answered before we can, elevate them to where I think Florida or Tampa are in the East. Washington, I'm not sure, but your thoughts on where the Hurricanes are?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I would say the goaltending situation is always kind of an iffy for Carolina, and I know that it hasn't been a major problem, but it's also, it may not be to the level of, comfortability where some other teams are in the East. But, when I look at the East, I feel like it's pretty wide open. Washington has been there as the best team in the Eastern Conference pretty much all year long. But they have many logical pushbacks that somebody could have when it comes to playoff hockey. It's a pretty inexperienced group currently with playoff success there, and they haven't faced a ton of adversity. You see a lot of the times a team that cruises through the regular season, that doesn't always set them up for success because they don't go through the adversity that pushes them forward in the playoffs. So I think Carolina has as good a shot as any other team in the Eastern Conference to make it through.
All right. Who would you say is the best team in the East right now?
Are we talking? I mean, if you're asking me who the best team is, it's got to be Washington, just based off of a 1 through 82 or 1 through however many games we've played to this point in the season.
Yeah.
But again,
Would
I
you bet
don't
'em?
know if that means that they are the best positioned for playoff success.
All right, let's talk about these in terms of odds. I do not have odds to win the Eastern Conference in front of me. Washington might be the favorite. I don't think they are. I think probably Florida still is.
Florida.
Who would you bet to win the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, I mean, Florida would probably be the team that I would look at just because they've been there. They're the reigning Stanley Cup champs. They've been back, they've been there twice in a row to the final. I know it's really hard to get there 3 years in a row, but they've got everything that you kind of look for in terms of the nastiness of playoff hockey, which is why they've been there 2 times in a row. And assuming that they can get healthy, 100% healthy by the playoffs, you're going to have a fresh Matthew Tkachuk. You're going to have a fresh Brad Marchand. You're going to have a fresh Aaron Ekblad, who's not unhealthy, but he's injecting some crap into his body.
He's too healthy.
That's getting him rested. Yeah, exactly. So, they're going to come upon some fresh guys when it comes time to for the playoffs.
No, there's no doubt about that. Yes, and Ekblad. See, in other sports, and I'm as a baseball fan, I think baseball goes maybe too far when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs. The NFL just treats it like a stub toe. You miss 4 games. You miss 4 games. No big deal. Nobody even talks about it. In baseball, you're a pariah forever. And if you get popped for a performance-enhancing drug, you're ineligible for the postseason that year, which I think happened to the Padres and Fernando Tatis a few years ago. But in the NHL, you can come back in the playoffs too. I'm not really making an editorial comment there. It's just every sport's got a different way of dealing with this. But Florida is, top to bottom loaded. And when you throw Seth Jones into the mix, and even if he's not the same guy that was in Columbus before the trade to Chicago, where maybe his, at the very least, his performance atrophied. I don't know if his will did as well with constantly losing all those games. But if you get anything close to what Seth Jones used to be, that's an incredible addition to them. And then they've got Bobrovsky, and we know in the postseason, 2 years in a row, he's just been amazing. So Carolina found that out in the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago. But everybody's found that out, especially last year when they won the Cup. What are your thoughts? Pete Blackburn is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. What are your thoughts on Tampa? Because they have put themselves, I think, very much back into the mix. They might end up winning that division.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I wasn't a true believer in Tampa before the trade for Gord and Bjorkstrand. I just feel like that one trade kind of set them up differently up front, where they had one of the best lines in hockey, and a bunch of high end guys at the very top, but their depth behind that wasn't amazing. But really, the addition of Gord and Bjorkstrand really changes the look of their lineup and how they play. And when you look at guys like that, they're not like world beaters, but they make you so much tougher to play against. The way that they forecheck, the way that they're responsible defensively in a 200-foot game, but can also contribute offensively, like those are the guys that you need in the postseason. And now Tampa has a bunch of them. And, you mentioned Vasilevsky. He's turned it on at points this year where he's looked unbelievable and unbeatable. And if you get that in the postseason, you're going to be tough to beat. I think they're in a really good spot, too.
I think they are as well. And if you finish I don't know. If you finish first, you might not. You might want to finish second. I don't know that right now. I know they got beat badly last night. I don't know that anybody's playing really better than Ottawa is right now. I think I would want to avoid the Senators if I could, because they have a vibe about them that I think is dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Tampa, you want to avoid the wild card, and I think at this point, anybody would prefer a first-round matchup against the Toronto Maple Leafs just based off of history and what that tends to mean. And and no disrespect to the roster that the Maple Leafs have this year, they've looked pretty good and they've kind of flown under the radar, changed some things that they needed to change. But at the end of the day, they're still the Leafs. Maybe it's in the DNA, and I also think that for Toronto, they're going to have a much harder time making a deep run if Austin Matthews can't score to the degree that he's scored in the past, and he's clearly dealing with a lingering issue.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. They don't seem to be. I mean, I know Carolina played them first game out of the break, and I thought the Hurricanes basically handed them all 4 goals. I didn't see Toronto create the goals. I saw Carolina just blindly give the puck away. Happened for at least 3 of the 4 goals. Yeah, but they don't look to me to be the same high-octane offense. I think they're clearly playing a different way under Craig Berube than they did before. I just don't. I don't have a lot of faith in them either. But normally, I mean, you'd rather finish first than not. But I'm not sure finishing first gets you a matchup that is any easier than a matchup against Toronto. Florida might relish that. It's going to end up, I hope, with an all-Sunshine State second round on that side of the bracket. Who do you think the most dangerous team right now is among the wild card teams, excluding the Senators, but of, whether it's Montreal, the Rangers, who I don't know how dangerous they are. They refuse to win more than a couple of games in a row. They just lost, I think they've lost 3 straight. Columbus, who's the most dangerous of those?
I mean, logically, I would say the Rangers, just based off of the fact they have Igor Shesterkin, and if he turns it on, you got one of the best goaltenders in the entire world. But they've also played like crap at points, especially recently. This week when they played Calgary, it was probably the worst game that I've seen a team play this entire season. They were horrible. So I'm gonna throw them into the garbage. I don't want to see the Rangers in the playoffs. The Blue Jackets, like a couple weeks ago, I felt like they had all the momentum, and they, obviously they've got some injuries that, if those guys get healthy before the playoffs, they're a different team. Sean Monahan specifically, like I would love to see the Blue Jackets get in, but they've had their ups and downs. So, really, I think that the most fun team that's in that mix is the Montreal Canadiens. Like the Montreal Canadiens are this young team that has scrapped their way into relevancy this year, despite, they're ahead of schedule, I would say, at this point, and they're fun. Like they're just a high-octane team, certainly imperfect, but I'm kind of rooting for them to get in just for the atmosphere and just for like the kind of wave that they're riding right now, which is a fun one.
All right, final thing for Pete Blackburn. What Chaos is the show on YouTube, daily hockey show. You should check it out. You guys were wearing like animal costumes during the trade deadline. Did I get that right?
Yeah, we do a 24-hour show for the trade deadline leading up to the deadline every year, and it just becomes the weirdest party that you've ever tuned into. And this year we had a Jurassic Puck hour, and we dressed up as dinosaurs, and just for no reason other than entertaining ourselves for one of the 24 hours.
That is fantastic. All right, do I have this correct? You're going to Edmonton, and we don't know if McDavid or Draisaitl are going to play?
Yeah, unbelievable job of scheduling by our show is to pick to go to Edmonton for the first time the week that Draisaitl and McDavid and maybe Stu Skinner may all be on IR for all we know.
Oh, my gosh. Well, good luck. Edmonton is gorgeous. So
that's what I've heard. But I've heard it's a lot of great things. We're going in the spring. The weather should hopefully be nice, and hopefully some of their good players will be playing.
You'll get to see Jeff Skinner, if not Stu Skinner. And who doesn't want to see Jeff Skinner play? Pete Blackburn, I appreciate your time. I hope Edmonton works out well, and we'll talk again.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Pete Blackburn here on the Adam Gold Show. Brett Friedlander is going to join us from Lenovo Center. Brett has had a rough go of it today. Apparently, the Mississippi State band tried to play Freebird.
Oh.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. And my only question was, what instrument tried to play the guitar solo? Like, is that a trumpet?
Maybe a saxophone?
A trombone, or maybe a sax? I guess you could. Any instrument can play it.
Yeah. But
can you pull it off? I don't know. We'll ask Brett Friedlander that in a little bit. Baylor had I think it was a 5-point lead at the half over Mississippi State. I think it was 37-32. Might have been 37-33. Either way, Baylor on top. We are hoping for a Duke-Baylor second-round meeting so Jeremy Roach gets a chance to play his old friends. And I'm not saying that I want that to happen so Jeremy Roach gets beat by 28 or whatever, because theoretically I think that's what would happen. But it would just be cool to watch Jeremy Roach play, because otherwise, the game is on here, but I'm otherwise not all that compelled to watch Baylor and Mississippi State. There are other games going on in the NCAA tournament right now. It is 37-32 at the half in favor of the Bears. Alabama leads Robert Morris 39-36 with 1 second left in the first half. 39-36. Alabama, the number 2 seed, on top of Robert Morris, 39-36. Lipscomb and Iowa State start at 1:30. That'll be on TNT. Memphis and Colorado State at 2 o'clock. 3:15 for Vanderbilt and St. Mary's. Of course, I skipped over Mount St. Mary's and Duke at Lenovo Center. It says 2:50, but it's basically 38 minutes or 30 minutes after the Baylor-Mississippi State game goes final. So if that game goes final at 2:30, then it won't be until 3 o'clock before Mount St. Mary's and Duke starts. The second game start times are always written in pencil. That's just the way that works. Just real quick before we get to Brett, and this is the advantage that we have. There's an advantage and a disadvantage to being so wrapped up in what the Hurricanes do that sometimes we forget the perspective of the league as a whole. And when I call Carolina a second-tier Stanley Cup contender, it's because I look at the team and I see, okay, this is an area of weakness that might not serve them well in the postseason. And until the last 3 weeks or so, goaltending was definitely one of them. Now, the goaltending we have watched for the last 10 games is anything but a weakness. It is phenomenal. Do I expect that to continue? Not really, not the way it is. Defense also doesn't look like a problem right now, and I put that in the category of that is a flaw that you might not be able to overcome. For a lot of other people, it's, gosh, the power play is so bad. And it's quite unsatisfactory.
At least that PK is good. It was last night. Bless.
The power play is just from hunger. Mm-hmm. But people want everybody fired or changes, and I keep saying it the same way. It's about players. It's about the players. It's not about anything else. There's only so much you can do on a power play. And Carolina actually runs set plays off a power play, and those have generated scoring chances. They had one last night for a scoring chance. It didn't score. Carolina's got no confidence right now in the power play, 0. And when you have no confidence, it doesn't make a difference what you do. You just have no confidence. Somehow, the same players score shorthanded, but not long-handed.
Make that make sense.
None of it makes sense. Whether the Hurricanes will snap out of it on the power play, I don't know. I kind of think they'll get better. It's hard not to. Brett Friedlander, Saturday Down South ACC columnist. He was the man who was in front of the Mississippi State Band as they attempted to play Freebird. And so my question to you, sir, is which instrument tried to play the guitar solo?
None. The whole band did. It was a crime against humanity. It was awful.
I'm sorry you had to deal with it, but better you than me.
Yes. Hey, by the way, on the power play, I know that's not what I'm here to talk about.
No, it's fine. Whatever. I got basketball on.
I was interested in that conversation because they're getting good chances, and I think this goes back to an old Roy Williamsism. Life always looks better when the ball goes through the basket. All it's going to take is them burying a couple, and then, if they're getting good chances, then they'll start to go, right? Isn't that the way that it usually works?
Theoretically, that should be the way it goes. The one thing about the power play, and why not? I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're going to talk basketball here too, is that for me, they're just trying to be too pretty with it. They're trying to pass the puck around and find great shots. Yeah. Whereas in the win over Philadelphia, they scored a power play goal, but those are the power play goals I think Carolina can score with regularity, which is a set play which creates the shot, but then it's a rebound and a shot, and then a rebound and a goal. And with an extra man, that's the way it's supposed to work. So Don't try to be pretty. Get it to somebody with a shooting lane, let him shoot it, and then go get it. And it's like offensive rebounding. In basketball, just go get the ball.
Want to.
Right, exactly. What the Hurricanes need is Dennis Rodman. And then they will be fine. All right, tell us everything you know, Brett Friedlander, about Duke's roster for today.
Malik Brown will not play.
Right.
Cooper Flagg will. He says he's close to 100%. I watched him during the open practice yesterday, and he didn't have any hint of a limp. So he's going to be going. And I would imagine because of the nature of this game, I would be surprised if he played more than 15, 18 minutes. Because get the lead, get him out of there, and I think he'll be full bore on Sunday. I've got no reason to believe that he is going to be hindered in any way. I don't think John or his parents or his handlers would allow that and risk his draft, status for a game against Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah, and my guess is that he plays a little bit in the first half, a little bit in the second half. Duke cruises. They just get him out on the court in a game situation. And then hopefully it will be Baylor. Again, I want to see Jeremy Roach win an NCAA tournament game. Hopefully it will be Baylor. And then against Baylor, then you'll see Cooper Flagg be Cooper Flagg. And look, I don't know. Has anybody said anything about a longer-term prognosis for Malik Brown?
No. Shire kind of dodged that question saying he doesn't know, but I'll tell you this. In Charlotte, he was wearing a sling on his arm. Yesterday, he was not. And he was not in uniform. He did not go through the practice, but he was on the sideline. And I was making a point of it to watch him, and he was using both of his hands and both of his arms pretty well. So I would think that there's a possibility, maybe for the second week, that he might be available.
Right.
But, they have not said. I think they're being very cautious, but I would not be shocked if they make it to New Jersey next week. And watching the first half between Baylor and Mississippi State, I can't see either of those teams, beating Duke. I think that there's a real possibility Malik Brown is back by the Sweet 16.
Man, first of all, I mean, look, Malik Brown, he's an adult. He can do what Malik Brown wants to do. So if he wants to play, great. If the pain is too much, if he can't do it, also fine. I want what's best for him. He does give them another weapon, another quiver, another arrow in the quiver that just makes them that much closer to, good luck.
You know what he really does, Adam, that I think really they need the most is that, he rebounds, he gets steals, but I think he gives them the ability to switch at all 5 positions defensively better than when Malawak is out there, and they can't switch at all when Patrick Ngamba's out there because he's just not quick enough, and I think that's the biggest thing, and I think you saw that at times against Carolina in Charlotte and in the first half against Louisville. I think that's the biggest thing. And let me just tell you, as somebody who has dislocated his shoulder twice, if there's no ligament damage, most of the time after you pop it back in, it's a matter of pain tolerance.
Right.
So, I think that may be the stage we're at with him.
Well, look, if he can play, if he can, Advil it up, that would be good for Duke because it does. It makes them incredible. All right. So big picture here with me, Brett Friedlander, ACC columnist, Saturday Down South at BFriedACC on Twitter. The league wasn't good this year.
Nope.
Therefore, Clemson and Louisville probably also didn't deserve bids. Didn't they prove it by losing?
I don't think you can make any gross big, wide-reaching statements by the outcome of an NCAA tournament game, and I know that's a fun thing to do, and everybody's going to do it, and it still doesn't matter if Carolina wins today. Listen, none of those 3 teams that are whining and complaining that Carolina got in front of them, and that would be West Virginia in particular, Indiana, and Boise State, none of the 4 are NCAA tournament teams. It's flip a coin and which one do you want to fill out the bracket. I think if anything, if you can come to any conclusion whatsoever about the selection process, it's that there is no business expanding this tournament, and those 4 teams, I think, prove it.
Well, first of all, I would argue
the other teams that got in too, by the way, Xavier, Texas, Georgia. Yeah.
Xavier and Carolina looked very similar when you looked at their resumes to me. The separator for me would have been, those predictive metrics, the Ken Palms, the Bart Torviks, the net, all of these things. They looked better for Carolina than they did for Xavier, which somebody would have to explain to me why Xavier was higher on the seed line because they said that Carolina was the last team in. But I would argue that West Virginia belonged in over both, just based on the games that they won. I mean, they had legitimate wins, whether it's with an injured player or without an injured player. Yeah. I mean, they still beat, not that Kansas was amazing, but Kansas was a better win than Carolina had, not to mention they lost to Kansas.
Lost to them too.
Right. So they beat Kansas in Kansas. They beat Iowa State as well. To me, West Virginia has a case why they should have gone, but the larger point that you made is 100% true and one that I tried to make. I just wanted Carolina fans to say, yup, we got a bid. How? I don't really know, but isn't it fun that we got one? And be thankful that the sun shone on North Carolina and stop trying to prove that you belonged with a set of metrics that had nothing to do with could you win these games, and they proved all year that they couldn't.
And the other thing too is the NCAA tournament is, until you get to the Elite Eight or even maybe the Sweet 16, this first week is all about matchups. Do you match up well against the team that you're seeded against?
Right.
And Carolina has gotten 2, I think, really, really favorable matchups. I mean, San Diego State, they were far more athletic than them, and they just took it to them, and they didn't have to worry about getting outsized and getting beaten up and physical.
They were just
inside.
Better. Carolina, they're good.
Ole Miss is the same way. Ole Miss is going to let Carolina play the way Carolina wants to play. They're going to let them get up and down the floor. They don't have, any dominant physical bigs that they have to deal with. And so there's a really good chance Carolina wins this game again today. And it's not because they've proven that they belong in this tournament. It's just that they had the luck of the draw of getting in, and they've gotten 2 really good matchups for their style of play and their personnel.
It is. And I also think that, and this is why I wanted Bubba Cunningham to just say, or Keith, the other guy, I want to just say, eye test. It works for football. Why wouldn't it also work for basketball?
And Adam, if this was football and this was Alabama, not North Carolina basketball, everybody would be saying, "Yep, got it right."
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I get it, and that actually would have made sense to me.
It's still a television show.
Yeah, it is,
and especially the first four on a Tuesday night, right? I mean, at 9:00.
Do you see how many people watched?
And North Carolina brings in more eyes than West Virginia.
2.2 million people watched that game, which was non-competitive, with 5 minutes left in the first half. It broke all sorts of records. Thoughts before we let Brett Friedlander go? ACC columnist, Saturday Down South. He is at Lenovo Center, where Baylor has an 8-point lead on Mississippi State. Thoughts on Will Wade coming to Raleigh? Reportedly, we don't want to go too far because, well, he has a job right now that he's currently executing as the head coach at McNeese State. So your thoughts on Will Wade?
And the further he goes in this tournament, the more valuable his commodity becomes. My son, who's an NC State grad, texted me yesterday saying, Texas just fired their coach. It would be the most classic NC State thing for them to poach him before he even gets here. So, listen, if he does come, and I don't know why he wouldn't. I mean, unless Texas really blows him away with a great offer. But, I mean, if you're Will Wade and you see Clemson and you do what you did to them yesterday and say, hey, that's the third best team in this conference, I'm going to go there and dominate. I think that guys like Will Wade and Pat Kelsey are exactly what the ACC needs to revive itself, because the coaching drop-off after the Hall of Famers and the longtime guys like Tony Bennett and Roy and Kay has been dramatic, and I think that's a huge part of what has happened to the ACC. Now you bring in Pat Kelsey, that fiery guy who knows how to recruit and already turned Louisville around. You bring Will Wade in here. I mean, that team that he had yesterday on the court, tell me that's not a team that would have gotten a double bye at the ACC tournament, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, that team, if he brings guys with him from that team, NC State can make a very quick turnaround. I think it's a great hire. And, the questions about his character, listen, the stuff that he got into trouble for at LSU, it's all legal now.
Yeah.
So, it's a non-issue. So I think that this is a great hire. I think that he's got the potential to make an immediate splash the way Pat Kelsey did it at Louisville.
Do you think there is a chance that Texas makes a strong-ass offer? I'm just going to leave the joke there. I don't think that's going to happen. I
don't think so either. And the other thing, too, by the way, is he's buddies with Shaka. And I think all he has to do is make a phone call and say, Shaka, do I really want to go there? And Shaka will say, nope, go to NC State. So.
Hey, the VCU Mafia, right?
That's right.
Ryan Odom there, too. Who knows where he's going to end up.
I would say either Villanova or Virginia. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. So, yeah.
No question about it. All right, Brett, enjoy the who do you have in the Final Four? You have Duke going to the Final Four?
Yeah, I've got Duke and Florida playing. I'm just,
everybody's got Duke and Florida playing.
They're just the best two teams. It's, look, Auburn really has shown some chinks in the armor in the last couple of weeks, and they've got a brutal, brutal region. And we shall see. I hesitate picking all the favorites, but this, to me, when you look at the top line and the top two lines, this is really going to be a chalk tournament, I think. You'll see upsets today. Yesterday you saw some, but those are just, the appetizer. I think when this thing gets down to the real tournament here next week, it's going to go pretty chalk, I think.
I think you're right. Brett Friedlander at BFried ACC columnist, Saturday Down South. Appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the game. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, for you, anytime, Adam.
Oh, my gosh. And again, he's heard the promo. I don't handle that well.
Yeah.
I don't handle that well because I do think that now people are saying it because, just going to make Gold feel uncomfortable. All right, we're going to break. We have to stretch, and we have to place bets. I'll tell you the 5 upsets I backed with U.S. currency today.
Oh, nice. I went 2 for 2 yesterday.
I went, that's very good.
Only units, though.
The 5 upsets I backed yesterday, I hit 1. But it almost made me break even.
There you go.
Well, it's good.
Yeah. You can't hate that. A win's a win.
Yeah, none of my upsets right now are playing, so so far I'm still in good shape. We'll do that next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We are knee-deep in March. The month is crazy. Some even call it mad. Time for your college basketball promo of the week. You can get a share of $1 million in bonus bets if you bet on the lowest winning seed of the day. That's an upset you will not be upset about. See what I did there? FanDuel. Best place to bet on the tournament, FanDuel.com/AGS. Download America's #1 sportsbook today. FanDuel.com/AGS. It's a dog of the day. You will be happy you did it. In March, anything can happen. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live moneyline wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split equally among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the overdose battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. We have time to stretch. Then we can place bets. Next hour, Brendan Winnard will talk basketball, talk also some NBA ball with him. Is it possible, I saw this thread going on yesterday, the Wizards might not be that far from turning a corner? And if you're the Hornets, how can that happen before it happens to you? Right now, stretch time.
Okay, quick stretch time. So, short and sweet, it is springtime. Spring has sprung, and so there's like a poll about whether people are looking forward to doing springy things, which, of course, why are we not? So, here are just some quick tips of what people are going towards, and I feel like this is going to be me too, because I like to freshen up the house. However, I may have done it a little prematurely because the pollen's coming. So first thing, people like to wash their windows and screens. Might want to wait till the pollen dies down a little bit. Might be doing that a couple different times. Also, number 2, can't wait, cleaning grills. It's grilling season. Let's go. I love to grill out in the backyard.
Absolutely.
And then 3, because I have a super green thumb, thanks pandemic, getting your yard in order. I love plant things, which, if you've seen my desk back here, I've got like a whole forest.
Do you?
Yes. I have like a plant light that's helping them stay alive because, there's no windows,
right.
But it's like a jungle back there. It's fantastic. So you should go check it out.
I have not been there.
Yes. Well,
I don't venture back that way.
If you ever do decide to go back that way, the spot with all the plants, that's me. You know what else is me? Well, I try to do anyway, which I did yesterday. Made some good bets.
Hope so.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, let's see what we can do here. I did win one of my 5 upset picks in the NCAA tournament.
That's good.
See how I do today.
Right?
But you go first.
Well, so I picked the Canes under 5.5 yesterday, which that came through. So let me do the Canes again. They're going to play against the Kings, of course. And you know what? Anytime goal scorer, let's do Jarvie because he did it last night. Plus 230? What?
230.
I know. For a Jarvie anytime goal scorer.
You got to like that.
I know.
Especially since he seems to score kind of in bunches.
Yes.
All right, let me first of all tell you that North Carolina -2 and over 155. Bank it. To the bank on that. And if you want to go, you can, and I'm going to give you my 5 upset picks for today.
Okay, well, we have UFC this weekend. Main event, Leon Edwards, Sean Brady. Give me Edwards, the underdog, plus 130.
Leon Edwards does not. He sounds more like a jazz musician.
I know.
All right, Grand Canyon plus 400 to beat Maryland. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I know. New Mexico over Marquette plus 150. There are others. I'll tell you those next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Do you ever go to the Carolina Hurricanes games and find yourself thinking, what do the players eat before the game? What are their pregame rituals? What kind of music gets them pumped up ahead of the game? How sacred is the game day nap? What's the postgame mood on the team plane? Check out my new podcast, Iced Tea, with me, Megan LaMontagne. I get to talk to people who spill the tea on the Carolina Hurricanes. Listen to Iced Tea in any podcast app or watch the show on the Fan YouTube channel.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's hockey season, baby. I live and work on both coasts, and here's the deal. There's nothing like Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, including half-price pizzas Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and $6 Jamesons on Sunday. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Are you in charge of running the building maintenance plays at your workplace? If you're facing roofing issues, you gotta get RoofWorks into the game. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. You can count on us to be your MVP when it comes to taking care of your commercial building roof. We handle leaky roof repair, coatings, total replacements, upfits, and we even do commercial gutters. Let us show you what a valuable addition we are to your building maintenance team. Contact us today online at roofworks.com. That's roof WERKS.com.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. I care deeply about creating a world we can all fully participate in, free from stigma, misperceptions, and barriers. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Rooted in communities nationwide, Easter Seals helps empower millions of people, regardless of age or disability, through its life-changing services and powerful advocacy. Today and every day, Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Every child deserves to be fed. But did you know that millions of kids are facing hunger every day? Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
This hour of Buzz Sports Radio is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Your home for Duke basketball. WCMC HD2 HD3 Holly Springs, WDNC AM Durham, and WCLY AM Raleigh. The Buzz.
If Andrei Svechnikov watched Eric Cole highlight tapes and caused chaos.
Hey, hashtag. You didn't even mean to do that, did you?
I didn't. Well, that's the old one.
I know, but
right?
It's still relevant.
Now we're raising up. Maybe we should go back to
I know, we need to go back to causing chaos.
It's interesting. I did kind of subconsciously bring that out. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's here. Brendan Woodard will talk basketball with us. I know he's excited about his Tar Heels, which will take on Ole Miss out of the SEC coming up in, 2 hours. They're in Milwaukee. You know, Seth Trimble is from Milwaukee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
The land of the cheese curds.
That's right. That's right. And old Milwaukee, which is better than Milwaukee's best.
Right.
Milwaukee's best is not correct.
Yeah. Ew.
It's not their best.
Oh.
They've done better.
Takes me back to an age.
Wasn't Schatz Brewery from with Laverne and Shirley?
Maybe.
They worked at the brewery, the beer manufacturer.
Yes. I used to know that whole theme song.
There are people. I don't understand what they were saying either. There are people who don't know what I just said. Laverne and Shirley. What are you talking about?
I know.
All right. So before we get into the Wall of Sound. And you'll hear from Will Wade, Seth Trimble, John Shire, and Rod Brindamore. Before we get into that, here are the 5 underdog wagers that I backed with U.S. currency today. If I get one, I basically break even. It's possible that one could put me over if you get the right one. Oklahoma plus, these are all money line bets just to win. Oklahoma plus 195 to beat Connecticut. Connecticut's had a bad year. Not that Oklahoma's great, because I'm not sure they are. New Mexico plus 150 to beat Marquette. Go Richard Pitino, who could end up possibly at Virginia if Ryan Odom doesn't go there. Liberty at plus 250 to beat Oregon. And Akron at plus 750 to beat Arizona. I've seen that as a popular pick in certain places. And Grand Canyon University at plus 400 to beat Maryland. Those are the 5 underdogs that I have backed with U.S. currency. There you go.
Well,
nobody cares.
Maybe one of it will hit. You never know.
I hit one yesterday.
There you go.
Which one was it? Drake.
Oh.
Drake to beat Missouri. And they ran Missouri, I think.
Yeah.
Good for them.
I almost wanted to place a bet with real units on McNeese yesterday.
Did you? They were one of my considerations.
Yeah.
And then I thought, nah.
Right.
What a dope. What a dope. All right. Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let's start. This happened last night. I mentioned that we have, quote, used a lot of their stuff this whole week. Field of 68, Jeff Goodman, who started that with Rob Doster, and we talked to Rob earlier in the week. And they had Will Wade. They've had, Will Wade's almost an employee. He's been on so much. But they had Will Wade on last night after the win. And we left the question in that Jeff Goodman started with, so you can hear the full context of everything.
People obviously were talking about how is all of the recent speculation about you and NC State going to affect your players? Would it throw them off? How did you handle this with your players as you led up to the game?
We talked about it. I mean, we were in practice when all that happened. And you guys know, look, you interview for a job and then your attorneys deal with their attorneys. It's not like I'm talking to people we were in practice at Brown, and Mike Martin, who I've known since I was in the Ivy League, he came out in practice and said, what's up to me? He's like, hey, you're trending on Twitter. So what the hell am I trending on Twitter for? He's like, oh, they said you took the NC State job. I was like, oh. And then I got back to my phone and had 300 text messages. And so, look, that had nothing to do with it when we got that night. I sat down and talked to the team. We had already talked on Saturday, and we're honest. Shoot, half the kids I recruited, I told them, hey, look, the goal is to go Power 5 after this year, and some of you guys can go with me, and some of you guys, so we all know what's up. And our guys, this was great for them. They're gonna have a lot of schools in their DMs tonight too, looking to pick them up, pay them. So it's a good everybody.
What we can say. That's what we can say.
All right, so it's purely transactional. That's what it is. That's the reality. And maybe it's not that way everywhere, okay? Because it doesn't have to be that way everywhere. It isn't really, I think, that way at Duke. But and I don't believe it will ever be that way at North Carolina. It doesn't have to be transactional. I've said this before. I think that at these programs, and I think NC State is one of these programs, I think the foundation of your program needs to be recruiting out of high school. And if some of those players are one and pro, good. Good. But if you're recruiting the right players, then if they're not good enough to be pros, but they play, well, then they're the foundation for your program. So if you look at Duke, it's Tyrese Proctor's third year. Caleb Foster's second year. He hasn't quite done what he wanted to, or really what they thought he'd do. But he is the foundation. He is part of the foundation for that program. Now, it's possible that, maybe even likely, that Caleb Foster leaves after 2 years because, well, they're bringing in other guards too. And that is just the reality. But that Will Wade clip sounded like everything is transactional, and it doesn't have to be that way in college basketball. All right, let's move on. I mentioned before, Seth Trimble from Milwaukee, and he is excited to be going home.
It's amazing. I've always kind of dreamed of a moment like this, especially at the collegiate level. I know it'll come at the next level, but this isn't something that comes, every single day here at this level. So just to have this blessing and have this opportunity to have some people who maybe can't make it out to North Carolina or can't make it out anywhere else to be able to make it out to this game is amazing. I've never played here at the Fiserv, so it's a dream come true for me.
It should be. Getting this team being in the NCAA tournament after what they did during the regular season, which was not enough, for them to get the opportunity to get in and then win a game, and I think they will win today, and I like them to win on Sunday. I'm not joking. I think they're good enough. Man, this whole thing is gravy. And the fact that Trimble is going to his hometown, even better. Now, John Shire, Duke's coach, on watching different players at times have to step forward.
Sometimes when you can call it bad, sometimes injuries are bad luck, right? And when there's bad luck or things that work against you, it's really an opportunity is what it is. And I thought that presented an amazing opportunity for our team to show our toughness in a critical moment. The Georgia Tech game, we're down, we're playing horrible, they're playing really well. And to be able to come back, to turn around the next 2 days against two really good teams without them. With all that said, we all know we need them, and we're a lot better with them. But for other guys to step up in close games to make big-time winning plays, I think that just gave us even more confidence with what we can do, getting him back healthy and ready to go at the same time.
So Cooper Flagg will play tomorrow, or today, soon. I think it stands to reason that we will not see Malik Brown this weekend. And it's probably even, iffy at best that he plays even next week. If they could get him back for 2 games in San Antonio, if in fact Duke gets that far, because there are no guarantees in anything, that would be amazing. If Malik Brown can play a role in games 5 and or 6 for Duke, that would be tremendous. But, you saw how, he didn't do anything other than move his shoulder when he dislocated it. Hopefully it comes back. All right, one more thing quickly. Rod Brindamore, after the game last night, there's a lot of things we talked about on the podcast, talked about goaltending, talked about the blue line, the wizard that is Jacob Slavin. He's definitely a Gryffindor.
That's a Harry Potter reference, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Had to check. I wasn't sure.
Sorry. Anyway, the other thing that really was obvious last night was how good the top line is. Aho, Jarvis, Blake, and the head coach talked about it.
They were buzzing around, and they had a lot of good shifts, and they probably deserved a little better. They were, I think one of our best lines, if not the best line. I thought, in general, everyone I thought played a good game, and that's what we need. That's what we've been doing here in this stretch. It's everyone's contributing, finding a way, and then huge penalty kill at the end. Everyone blocking shots, doing what they had to do to get it done.
It was. There really wasn't anybody that didn't play well last night. It was a fun game to watch. I just wish it wasn't at 10:30 because I am dragging. It has hit me.
Rough.
It has hit me right now. Brendan Whitted is going to join us when we come back. We'll talk more basketball. We'll let him crow about how good North Carolina is, and I'm with him. They have looked great certainly did in Dayton. Let's hope it translates to Milwaukee. But also we'll throw in the fact that, is it possible that the Hornets are behind the Wizards in a rebuild? How is that even possible? We'll talk to Brendan Whitted next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keatts fired as head coach of the NC State men's basketball team. Regardless of what you think of Coach Keatts, good coach, bad coach, indifferent, the next coach, their success relies on better financial support. NC State just hasn't had the NIL funds to compete for an ACC championship every year, and that has to change.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right?
Right.
So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
We all want more for North Carolina. More boundless views, more adventures in the outdoors, and more clean roads to get there. But to get more, we have to do less. Less littering, that is. Make it your nature to trash your trash and keep NC clean. And we'll all have more reasons to love North Carolina. Litter less, get more. For more on the 7 outdoor NC Leave No Trace principles, visit OutdoorNC.com. Sponsored by the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and Visit North Carolina, a part of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina in cooperation with this station.
This hour of Buzz Sports Radio is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
When you take a walk around your neighborhood and notice all the things that make it feel like home, like all the houses lined neatly together in a row, or your neighbor, Miss Rita, who always waves at you when you drive down the street, or that movie theater in the strip mall that might look a little worn down, but has the best popcorn you've ever tasted. One thing might be a little harder to notice, because somewhere tucked in that neat row of houses is hunger. It could be your next door neighbor, or your coworker, or your daughter's friend from school, because over 30 million Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. Hunger lives in neighborhoods all around us, but it doesn't have to. Together, we can provide 1 billion meals by 2030, because everyone should be welcome at the table. Learn more at nourishingneighbors.com. Let's break the cycle of hunger together.
Good morning, students! Cartoon Network wants you to start your day off right by speaking up
against bullying.
People can be bullied for all kinds of things.
Who they are, where they're from, what they look like, or what they believe.
That's called identity-based bullying. If you see a student being bullied, be supportive.
Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You can be an ally
and make a friend.
Friendship!
Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com
and redraw your world without bullying.
What's up? This is will.i.am. I'm joining Stand Up to Cancer and Providence Health System to let you know, if you're 45 and older, go get a colon cancer screening right now. Ask your doctor or go to providence.org/colon cancer to determine which screening option is right for you.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's why.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold, victorious on the ones and twos. Mississippi State has closed within a bucket. We are coming down the stretch. Just a little bit more than a minute remain. First game of the day. There are other games going on right now, and Alabama's having all they can want with Robert Morris as Bobby Moe is within 6 points. It is 58-52. They are about the halfway point of the second half. Iowa State, after struggling early with Lipscomb, I believe it was 16 apiece. The Cyclones, I told you, in a dominant mascot bracket, Iowa State wins it all. 40-24. They lead the Lipscombs. I don't know what they are. I don't know what Lipscomb's nickname is.
I don't know. It sounds like a lip gloss.
But I was going to say gloss. They're the glossy.
Right?
Anyway, talk a little basketball, and I will welcome in one of our resident basketball brains, Brendan Whitted, at HU Cosell on Twitter with the typical March greeting. How are your brackets, sir?
Oh, man, I don't – look, bro.
Do you fill out a bracket?
No, I didn't fill out a bracket.
Why not? What is wrong with you?
There's no way.
My dog fills out a bracket.
I picked out a winner just, for entertainment purposes only. But, I wasn't going to sit down there and go through all – it's been kind of chalk, which is funny because I probably could have been a little bit further along in some of the pools, but
right.
It's just what it was going to be me wasting 3 minutes of my time because I wasn't going to do that research. I wasn't doing none of that this year. I was just like, I'm just glad my team is a part of all of this.
Right.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to put any extra pressure on them by even filling out a bracket. No, I'm happy to be here, guys.
How do you feel about your team being part of it?
I understood why people were upset, but one, if you're arguing that you're like the 48th best team as opposed to the 9th best team, I don't care. Like that, if UNC hadn't made it, I would have been disappointed. But honestly, you're not good enough. I would have just pointed to, hey, y'all were trash till January, right? That's what happens. And so when West Virginia starts puffing out his chest, I'm like, didn't you lose in the first round of your conference tournament?
They
you
did.
Good enough to do that.
They did.
If you're not, that's just not good. You're not. If this was the college football from back in the day where they only had 2 or 4 teams in a playoff sort of scenario, absolutely talk your stuff. If you're a top 10 team getting left out, 100%. Here, they got 68 of them things. If you ain't make it, that's on you, Playboy.
That's what I've been saying for weeks. I actually think that West Virginia does have an argument. They beat a bunch of good teams. And I thought that was the whole point. But, hey, look, there's a lot of factors, obviously, that go into it. But the first thing I said was, look, if we are sitting here on the third Sunday in March and we're not sure that you're an NCAA tournament team, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear you whine that you didn't get in because we had 4 months of basketball for you to tell the committee that we belonged. And you didn't get around to it, so you can't be looking at the mailbox going, where's my invitation?
And to get mad at one team, be like, oh, it's UNC's fault.
Well, we all know why that is, right?
It's the fun. I understand last 4 in, last 4 out. They do a lot with that, but it's there's probably some other people that you can look at their seedings and think, probably a little high. Probably this is misseeded. It's a crapshoot when you're having this many teams in the tournament. You're not going to necessarily get the top. It's not top 68 because you got the at large. You got the automatic stuff like that.
Correct.
But with any ranking this large, it's going to be an issue. That's just what it is. And I don't know what in the Kevin Pittsnoggle was going on with the governor, but my God.
Hey, that's a great reference, man. Yeah. To bring up Kevin Pittsnoggle in this economy, that is tremendous. That's Brendan Whitted, one of our basketball brains here on the Adam Gold Show. But can we just talk about the way they're playing? Because I've been saying this for weeks. No joke. I may have said it to you, but I've said it basically every day for the last 3 weeks. I don't think they're going to get in, but if they get in, they're winning games. And I backed them against San Diego State, cash. I have backed them again tonight, cash. I'll say it ahead of time, and I think they're going to win another one. So
it's the shooting, right? It's the offense just being better when you have more space, and so I think a lot of it was having too many guys that weren't shooters. Cadeau probably most of all because of his usage rate.
Yeah.
And so you start pairing him with a Lubin Washington has started to hit some of those trailer threes, which have really helped them, and kind of that secondary break stuff.
Yeah.
But they were putting on a lot of bigs. They took off Withers for a really long time, who's turned out to be one of their better shooters down the stretch.
Yeah.
And once you start adding Powell and Jackson, and RJ just went through a slump. I think that was just one of those things where I don't know if it was a nagging injury or it just wasn't falling for him. But earlier in the season, he wasn't shooting well, so you had a poor backcourt of shooting, and it just the offense is clogged. Now, I mean, you can put out lineups where you can legitimately play 5 out, right?
Yeah.
We haven't been able to say that about UNC maybe ever. And so, that's what opened it up, though. It's what opens up some of these drives. These guys have gotten a lot more confidence. There's something to be said for just feeling better when you're walking out on that court, not feeling like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't feel like they feel the pressure as much. There'll be times when I'll be watching them and they felt like it was a grind to get through the game. Even if they were to win, there wasn't a whole bunch of joy. Hubert Davis has talked a lot about they're not a really vocal team. But I think I started to see them relax a little bit more. They have the talent. Like a guy like Trimble, who's kind of gotten lost in the wash a little bit, great point of attack defender, incredibly physical, runs hard, and can knock down the open catch and shoot three. Like somebody like him being able to, sometimes he's more in a reserve role, but having guys like him who can sustain the stuff that they do, it's been really, really good. I even really like the minutes Tyson, the few minutes Tyson has given them. He hasn't shot the cover off the ball like he was supposed to, but he has got good size. He's physical. Like he's actually a pretty good rebounder for the smaller number of minutes that he plays.
Right.
They rounded out that bench. Again, the Cadeau minutes can still be problematic because it's tough when a guy who has the ball in his hands can't shoot. Right.
Oh, but he made the first one. I thought that first one he made against San Diego State, I thought that was like, oh man, if he's going to do that. I loved it.
That type of stuff scares me. When my
but I think you have to. Like you let me bring it to the NBA because I want to get to some NBA stuff with you. Brendan Whitted is joining us. You know my biggest problem with Ben Simmons is that he refuses to shoot.
Yeah.
And I think that's the worst thing you can do as a basketball player is be unwilling to shoot the ball because it makes everything that you want to do beyond shooting, it makes it harder. Yeah. And I think Cadeau has to shoot the ball. He doesn't have to make. He's just got to shoot. And when that one went in, I really thought it, first of all, I thought it relaxed everybody right away. Yeah. And I just thought that made San Diego State's job of defending so much more difficult.
I think not being able to shoot threes is something that you can overcome. Yes, Ben Simmons is just not aggressive enough offensively. Cadeau is aggressive, right? Sometimes too aggressive. He'll overdrive, and he's had some bad turnover games. Like, that's the other thing. It's not just his shooting that bothers me. Sometimes it's just poor decision-making with the ball in your hand. I understand why he wants him at point to take some pressure off of RJ so he's not having to do so much. My thing is, he doesn't always have – I don't think Cadeau always has to be the guy that's bringing up and initiating the offense.
No.
You wanted to bring it back to the NBA. Draymond is shooting better from three this year, but you've seen him have some just horrendous shooting nights.
Yeah.
And a poor shooting season. So you know what Kerr does? He involves him in these dribble handoffs. He involves them in screens. So if you do want to sag off because, I'm not worried about him hitting the three, understand if you use him as a screener, now – somebody's walking into drop coverage. RJ Davis can come off of that Cadeau screen into drop coverage because the defender is so not concerned about Cadeau on the perimeter. I'd love to see some of that stuff get worked in because you can create some different mismatches in space if a team just refuses to D up on somebody. I don't want Cadeau to fall in love with that three. Like you said, you were happy to see it go.
Yeah.
It made me kind of don't start this. Don't start the.
How many others did he take?
No, I don't think he took too.
Right. So if he understands that, now the threat's there. I know you're a huge Canes fan. So when some of their players, if they don't shoot the puck, you don't honor it. But once they shoot it once, man, you have to be ready for it. Real quick, let me ask you this question, Brendan. How do you feel about Cinderellas in the NCAA tournament. Are you pro Cinderella getting to the second weekend or the Final Four, or do you like it for just like one round and then go home?
I know this sounds counterintuitive because I root for one of the most storied franchises in the history of college basketball, but I love that stuff, man. I love when we find out about a team just out of nowhere, like the what was it, the manager for McNeese State, Aura Khan, I think is what they call him.
Sure.
He's their game manager. He gets them hyped. I love finding those little schools that just like go crazy out of nowhere. Hey, like Florida Gulf Coast, out of nowhere they made like an Elite Eight or five, and it's cool, man. Like that's
right.
That's what makes college basketball different in from the NBA, because very rarely are you just shocked at the finals or even at the semifinal level of an NBA finals, because you're playing out of 7 games, but in a 1-game sample size, obviously something insane could happen, and suddenly this team that you've never heard of, now you're Googling these guys, you're trying to figure out who's good and who's not. Like, that's fun. Like, it's like a new episode every time you watch some of these teams, because you know you haven't been watching them.
Well, I bring that up because we actually talked about it briefly a little bit ago, but for a hot minute, with under 7 minutes to go, Robert Morris was leading Alabama. Now, Alabama leads 68-65, and there's just a little more. Yeah, just a little bit more than 5 minutes to go over Robert Morris. The only time I remember Robert Morris winning a big game was, and this has got to be 15 years ago, maybe more than that, they beat Kentucky in the first round of an NIT when Kentucky was the 1 seed, but Rupp Arena was being used for the NCAA tournament. So the 1 seed, actually, they played the game in Pittsburgh in Robert Morris's gym. And Robert Morris won that game. Alabama now leads 70-65. I mean, look,
that's a full-on embarrassment right there. Now that's
I mean, what was Kentucky's motivation for the NIT? Really, I mean, I'm surprised. I'm glad they played, and you shouldn't need. I mean, I guess those kids didn't go to Kentucky to play in the NIT, so it is what it is. Do you think North Carolina would have played in the NIT had they not gotten a tournament bid?
It really bothers me, or it bothered me last year when teams would set out and like, hey, you did all the, like, because West Virginia, I don't think is the NIT. I think they declined an invitation to the NIT.
Well, UNC did.
But there are some logistical things that are now, like, the portal opens like really soon. I think it's at the tail end of March.
Right.
And coaches just don't have the time to like try to walk you through the NIT, like be coaching and be recruiting. So I legitimately can understand the players, right? For their end, they've got to make a decision. So I can understand the motivation for both sides being like, do we really got to do this because we got other stuff to do? And it's only really big time programs that disappointed, right? So like even the fans, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything because I don't know how many fans, how many of those Kentucky fans were probably watching that game you just said, but it probably wasn't a ton, right?
No.
So I don't feel like anybody's missing out. The fans are kind of blah on the season. The coaches are ready to get after it in recruiting, and the players have a really big decision to make about whether or not they're going to stay there. I just logistically, it makes a ton of sense for teams to just exit out.
It's like it's bowling night in Lexington, and you go out and you bowl your 225, and then you check your phone and you're like, oh, we lost to who? We lost like that, like not even paying attention to it. Final thing for you, Brennan Whitted, my friend, a basketball brain. At HU Cosell on Twitter. Also Bison Express. You should go check it out. Howard University. At some point, you and I are going to have to talk about potential Howard football and basketball players that might take a step out. And I know we have stuff to talk about, so we'll do that another time.
Absolutely.
But I don't know why it's been in my timeline, but there are a lot of Wizards fans who are very bullish on their not too distant future with all of the young players that they have stockpiled. How is it that the Washington Wizards could possibly be further along on the reclamation timeline than the Charlotte Hornets?
Wow, that really hurt. Thanks, Gold.
I apologize. It's just I thought it's a fair question.
It is. I would disagree only because LaMelo Ball is the best player on either of those teams.
Okay.
Right now, what the Wizards also have done is they brought in Middleton, Marcus Smart. Every player, like to a man, has talked about the importance of having Marcus Smart, not in terms of what he's doing on the court, but in what he's doing off the court, what he's doing in the locker room. And you can even see he'll go up. He's barely even kind of practicing before the games. He's just going up to guys and kind of walking them through. Hey, here's how you become a professional. And that is one thing that the Hornets really haven't done, is have a whole bunch of veterans that it is clear, hey, you're here to help the youngsters, right? The veterans that they've had are still trying to hold on to their own careers, which is fair, is completely understandable. But that's a different conversation. That's a different relationship than you have with some of the other stuff. The Hornets there have been a lot of Hornets players that have gotten in trouble off the court in the last 2 to 3 years. Not this year. I think this year they're clean, but having those guys that kind of teach you how to be a pro, that is something that the Hornets really have struggled with. I think that they've cleaned some of that stuff up. Todd Gibson's on the team now, stuff like that. But I think if you're looking for something to be excited about, if you're a Wizards fan, they look like they're just no longer in just a free fall nosedive sort of situation. I went to the Lakers game. It's been weeks ago now, but that arena was sunk. Like, if you weren't a Lakers fan, like the Wizards fans were just the level of deflation, right?
Right.
Like, it was palpable. It was just like, this is us again. And Wizards fans are pretty loyal, because they could have dipped out a while ago, but they're still showing up. Or maybe they were all Lakers fans. I don't know. But like they want this team to be good, and I want fans that are this kind of loyal, that are still excited about teams that have been bad for a while. I want them to be rewarded. I'd love to see a good a Wizards team come back and be good again, because I don't know. I mean, because I spent so much time in my life in D.C., I just kind of hate for the fans that have seen so much bad basketball.
It's been a long time since an NBA team in Washington was legitimately good. A long time. I mean, it's like when I was in college. Real quick story before I let you go. Ted Leonsis owns both the Capitals and the Wizards, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think it was Abe Pollin used to own both the Wizards, then the Bullets, and the Capitals.
Oh, okay.
Right? The Washington Capitals were a very good team in the 80s. Perennial playoff team. You know, like a sneaky Stanley Cup legit contender back in the 80s when I was in school. And I was covering, it's like I was first out of school, covering the Capitals in a playoff series. And I'm in the press room, like in between periods. Actually, it was during a period. And the owner, Poland, was watching the Bullets play. I don't even remember who they were playing, but they were well out of the playoffs. He was more interested in the Bullets in a regular season game when they weren't going anywhere than he was in the Capitals, who were actually at that very moment playing in a playoff game. So I think there's a lot of people that share that would love to see the Wizards.
If there's one thing Washington fans know, and this is mostly for football, but a change in ownership.
Yeah. It matters.
It can mean a lot. I've never seen so much Washington Commanders gear around the city ever. And it was like, it was legitimately nice to see them like so excited about Jay and Day. It was like, this is a sports town, but they've been bad in pretty much all the sports.
Everything.
The Hats have been trash. Wizards have been trash. It just hasn't been like that around here. It's nice to see it come back.
Jeremy Roach and Baylor have advanced 75-72. That could be a fun game with VJ Edgecombe and Jeremy Roach against Duke. Blue Devils by 20. All right, and I think the Tar Heels win today by a dozen over Ole Miss. Yeah. I'm on top. I'm on board.
I love it, man. Look, all the good vibes that we can get, man. Like, I'm Bill Belichick, one game at a time, baby. That's what that's what I'm on right now.
I have other questions, but I'll save it for another time. Brendan Whitted, my man at HU Cosell on Twitter. Thank you very much for letting me watch the Baylor game.
No problem at all, bro.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, that's the whole strategy about yesterday and today.
Yeah.
Today we had 5 guests. Yesterday we had 4. I think we had 4.
I think so. Yeah.
4.
That's okay. That's what happens. We have to work while everybody else can watch.
I needed to watch basketball. I couldn't do all this.
I know.
All right, so yeah,
Should be a national holiday.
Baylor 75-72. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, I will have switched already to Alabama Robert Morris, which is on True TV. But that game has spread out. 3.5 minutes to go. 74-66. Alabama's in front. We'll come back. We'll do a little rewind next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuition's due. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Agriculture drives our local economy. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University, and we are looking for our next generation of leaders. If you want to make a difference and help feed the world, join us at the Ag Institute, where we grow successful graduates, productive futures, and rewarding lifestyles. We offer 2-year degrees and hundreds of internships. Learn more online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
This is Adam Gold.
Did you see what Duke is paying the quarterback that they pulled out of the portal from Tulane?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. 2-year deal, $4 million per.
Oh, wow.
Per. So.
Do they want a quarterback named Victoria?
The Adam Gold Show.
I'm 1 for 1 today.
Nice.
I had Baylor beating Mississippi State. I had Baylor beating Mississippi State and then losing to Duke. I picked. It's an upset. I picked Duke over over Mount St. Mary's.
Right.
So
yeah.
Alabama now leads 77-68 over Robert Morris. But give the Robert Morris's, no idea. Give them credit. I mean, for being in the battle. And this game has been close throughout. Sometimes you get these upsets where a team just shoots the ball like lights out for like 5 or 6 minutes, and then there's so much pressure on the other team that they just cannot. Mm-hmm. They just can't unlock themselves and just recognize that, oh, man, it's a long game.
Yeah.
Just play. We watch this all the time in all sports. I'll see the Hurricanes give up a goal. I thought it happened in the first period. So the Canes give up the first goal. It's a shorthanded goal. And Carolina had been playing relatively well. I know the power play is bad. But they'd been playing really well throughout the first, however long in the game. Let's say 10 minutes of the game. And then they give up the shorthanded goal. And suddenly you're trying to score 5 goals every time you have the puck. Just relax. It's a long game. Chill. Get back to just playing your game, and I'm sure the opportunities will come. And then if the goaltender wants to have one of those out-of-body experiences, there's nothing you can do about it. Mm-hmm. But just relax and play. Because these games, the longer they go, the better team, the more their chances go up to win. Because the longer things go on, the more the absolute talent rises to the top. Not the, play calls or the scheme or the game plan. These things all matter. But the number one reason teams win or don't is, do you have enough good players? And the Hurricanes had enough good players last night. They all played well. And after, really trying to force it early, they just just kind of relaxed and then just went about their business of playing. So that was very good. Alabama is putting the finishing touches on Robert Morris. It is 77-71 now, and we've got about 2:20 to go in that game. Again, Baylor's already advanced. They will play Duke on Sunday. I don't think we've seen a start time for that just yet. The Blue Devils game won't start until about 3:10. As we told you, the planned start times are never accurate.
No.
Ever. So, and North Carolina will start at 4 o'clock. Again, they're hoping. That's it. That's all you can do is hope.
Yep.
And, they hope. And Iowa State is winning right now. Let me see if I can get a score on Iowa State before we rewind. Iowa State is ahead 46-30, but there's still 15 and a half minutes left in that game. So they say the Carolina game is going to start at 4. Yeah, maybe this first game will be over by 3:30, so they can start at 4. All right, with that said, we have time to rewind. All right. Rod Baxley of Fayetteville Observer joined us earlier, and I think we can all agree that whether or not they belonged in doesn't even matter at this point. Now they're in. All these teams are either in or they're not, and I feel bad for West Virginia because, honestly, I get your point. Not the whole governor thing, but I get your point about feeling like you at least deserved it more than the other teams who didn't deserve it. We have different levels of you don't deserve anything. But I asked Rod Baxley of the Fayetteville Observer that, we talked about how that nothing that North Carolina did surprised us, and then we moved on with their next opponent, Ole Miss.
No, I mean, to be honest, Adam, let's go ahead and get it out of the way. That was a Q2 win for the Heels with San Diego State. And nothing against San Diego State, but I think they would have problems scoring against the team we put together as far as the Raleigh media goes. They're elite defensively, but they can't score. And Carolina did what I was kind of expecting them to do in that game. I mean, they looked great, and they have played a lot better of late. But I've got to see it against a top-tier team. I've got to see it against a quality opponent before I really buy in. All
right. Well, I've bought in, and I actually said, and you may have heard this. I may have said this with you on this program. I thought if they get in, and I'm on record, I don't believe they deserve to bid. But there's a lot of teams. I'm not sure San Diego State deserved to bid. Not based on what I saw, just based on what they did this year. And you could say the same about Xavier, and they beat Texas. So I thought if they could get in, I thought they would go to the Sweet 16. I like their draw. I like them against Ole Miss. Clearly, Vegas does. You made the last team in the field a favorite against the 6th seed. That was a little bit surprising, but maybe not because it is North Carolina, and emotions definitely trigger wagering. But Iowa State's physically compromised. They're missing one of their best players. There's a path for UNC to win 3 games and get to play Michigan State in the Sweet 16.
There absolutely is a path. You really couldn't ask for a better draw, Adam. I mean, like you said, Ole Miss, they're not overwhelming on either side of the ball, but a very good team that is proven from the SEC as far as racking up some big wins. But then you look at Iowa State, they're dealing with a lot of injuries, and that's always tough this time of year. I mean, they got to get past the Lipscomb team that a lot of people are on now because of the turmoil in Ames. But, yeah, it's a gettable pass for Carolina. But like I said, I got to see it. I got to see it. I believe they can do it. I mean, they're obviously playing great basketball on both sides of the ball. And like Roy Williams always said, everything looks better when the ball's going in the basket. So we'll see, man.
All right, that's Rod Baxley from the Fayetteville Observer, who's at Lenovo Center watching Baylor. He just watched Baylor's win. And next up for them will be Duke and Mount St. Mary's. Alabama now leads, I think, by 12. And look, this is normal in that you can play the game of your life, but when it starts slipping away, sometimes it really bottoms out. And that is what does look like that's what happened to Robert Morris. But, man, they took Alabama. They gave Alabama everything they wanted. Sometimes these things are good, and sometimes these things are a sign that we might not be as good as we thought we were. So we'll see what happens to Alabama. By the way, that's the 2 in Duke's bracket is Alabama. Now, do I have them losing to St. Mary's in the next round? I do. Mostly because I figured St. Mary's would just bore them to death.
Also likely.
That's what I think St. Mary's is trying to do. We are going to play such a boring brand of basketball that y'all are going to fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Y'all
like
gonna,
me with golf.
Right. Y'all going to act like you were up until 1 o'clock watching the Hurricanes last night.
Exactly.
Because the struggle is real.
Yeah.
So
home stretch.
So let's close with the Canes. 8 in a row. And in terms of the standings, nobody's catching Washington. Washington is not only going to be the Metropolitan Division winners, they're going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference, which means they would play wild card 2. Right now, that's Montreal. Although, I will say this to the Devils aren't going to get caught by Columbus because Columbus has fallen off of it too. And right now, I don't even know who's going to push Montreal because they have a little bit of a cushion. Not a big one, but you don't need a big one. There's no more than 14 games left for anybody. The Hurricanes have 14 games left. The Capitals, I think, also have 14. The Devils have 12 left. Carolina's got an 8-point lead. See what happened to the Devils last night? At home to Calgary, a team that, they could still make the playoffs. They probably won't. I think they're third in the race for the second wild card. But they had a 3-1 lead at home to Calgary, did the Devils, and completely fell apart. 3-1 lead at home, lost 5-3. Could you imagine what would happen if that happened here?
Oh, wow.
We would lose our minds.
Riot.
Oh, yeah. Riot would be calm compared to Hurricanes Twitter.
All the fire rod things would be coming out.
We're not even handling the fact that the Canes' power play sucks. We're not even handling that well.
No.
Like, what are they going to go do this?
We're doomed.
I don't know why we act as though, like, every NHL team has an offensive coordinator whose only job is it to make the power play better. Like, the Hurricanes are the same team that, spent the first 2 months of the season, like, only scoring on the power play. And we were complaining. Man, we got to get our 5-on-5 game up.
Right.
Like, now they're doing that to an extent. It's better than it was a few, 3-4 weeks ago. But now it's like, well, we got to score in the power play. Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard to win a playoff series if you lose the special teams battle.
At least we score on the other team's power play.
I keep saying it. Go shorthanded.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. You committed a penalty? We're sending one of our guys to the penalty box.
We'll do it.
Show you.
Here's the banana and the Gatorade.
That's right. That's what they should do.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm not saying it's not an issue. I think it's an issue. But I also think that these are things that self-correct. It's not rocket science. It just takes confidence. Get one, and I think they'll be okay. Actually, I shouldn't say one, because they got one in Philly.
Yeah. Maybe they're just waiting for the playoffs.
And I would be okay with that.
Yes.
They don't even need a great power play in the playoffs. They just need one that looks like it belongs in the National Hockey League. And with, a few exceptions, I think it has looked like it belongs in the National Hockey League, but it's obviously not good. They want it to get better, but it's really about the players than it is anything else. And I know people don't think that's true, and that's fine. You can scheme your way out of anything. I don't know. I just don't think it is. I think it's about the players. Victoria, thank you. Bye.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of a Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
in Iraq. Our truck hit a roadside bomb. I had about 16 surgeries on my hand so that I could regain function. And when I came home, I needed a new roof due to a storm. And my electrical was deemed unsafe. And I was about to lose homeowners insurance as well. I didn't really know where to go in order to get help. And so I applied for Operation Homefront Critical Financial Assistance Program. They've really been a blessing. Operation Homefront is the safety net. A lot of veterans, they fall through the cracks sometimes. And Operation Homefront, they catch us.